Aqueduct Racetrack in Queens looks a little different this afternoon. Light dusting, little overnight snowfall, but the racing continues, which is good news for Full Screen, trying for a first stakes win in 3 years. The favorite in the Queens County Stakes. And in Hot Springs, Arkansas, Oaklawn Park, the holiday meet rolls on. Not that Counting Stars has taken any time off, just 13 days since her Astral Spa victory. She runs today, she's favored today in the year's end stakes. Will we see a similar celebration after the feature at Oaklawn? Find out this afternoon. Great to have you with us on FS1, America's Day at the Races. Winding down 2025 at the Big A, racing well underway on this Saturday afternoon, but you're just in time for the main event. From Aqueduct, alongside handicapper Jonathan Kitchen, Aqueduct's all-time leading jockey, Richie Migliore. I'm Lafitte Pinkai, guys. Not a lot of time to mess around. We're gearing up for the Saturday feature. The Queens County Stakes is next, Richie, but like all those years, all those winters you spent riding here at the Big A, like on days like this. Like it's not snowing right now, but it's cold out there, which I imagine the conditions bother you a little bit less when you're about to ride in the biggest race in the afternoon. Yeah,
it's just your adrenaline gets up, right? You're in the zone. You're excited to ride the big race. You've probably ridden, races previous, so you've already gotten warmed up. You've gotten into the zone, if you will, and you've got to steel up to this weather. If you're going to apply your trade here in the winter, at times it's going to be uncomfortable. There's a difference between unsafe and uncomfortable. Uncomfortable, you got to go through it. You just got to keep your head down and keep working.
But unlike other sports, you can't just like layer up. There is a weight limit for riders out there, so you can't just layer up until you're a little more comfortable.
Well, that's it. I mean, you might be out there in just jockey pants. People that don't know, there's basically like tissue paper and nothing else. I mean, so you've got to be able to, know that, yeah, I'm going to be cold. I'm going to go out there. But allow your adrenaline to take over, your desire, your will. I'll take will over skill any day of the week if they're even remotely close.
So, Jonathan, who has the most skill in terms of the competitors handicapping this race, handicapping the Queens County, who'd you come up with?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Full Screen ran extremely well last time. He's definitely one that I would want to have in the mix, the 4-horse for Brad Cox. But Brad Cox has another runner on the rail taking some money as well, and Kinetic, who he's sandwiched in with some bad races, but the meat of that sandwich is a bunch of really good ones.
Yeah, you're hosting yesterday. You did really well. Better than expected, and I'm not entirely comfortable with it as you look at today's slate. Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual unusually well. And just in case you didn't get that Naira Bets account you were hoping for this holiday season, get yourself one. Sign up today, NairaBets.com. You take advantage. You bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Sign up today. Get up to a $200 deposit match bonus with promo code BONUS200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world. Start winning today. Join now, NairaBets.com. Queens County. There's the field. Updated odds, mile and an eighth, $150,000 purse. Bourbon Day, number 3, the 2-to-1 favorite with horses in the paddock. We say hello to Maggie Wolfendale, braving the elements. Nothing new for her. Maggie, you know most of these runners pretty well. What are you noticing in the paddock?
Yeah, Lafitte, I'm well familiar and well versed with pretty much the entire field of this Queens County. And while we do see your favorite likely being, now I might be preempting things, in Full Screen, I'm going to take a look at his stablemate, if you will, the other Brad Cox runners. You heard JK say he does have some good races that would make him competitive here, even going 2 back when he won the stake there at Oaklawn Park. Now, something must have happened in that Grade 3 Essex. He didn't break that well, and granted, it was a hotly contested pace, and he didn't look comfortable early on. The pace did fall apart because the horse who won at Red Route 1 is a well-known deep closer. So I think, the layoff subsequently after that speaks to that poor performance. Now, looking at him here in the paddock, kind of feeling like I feel, fresh off the layoff, as he has been on the muscle, very keen in his demeanor, and physically he looks great. Now, maybe he's going to need a tightener. I'm always a little bit on the fence with these types of horses, these big, robust, heavy-bodied types, where do they need to start? We'll see, especially going the 9 furlongs, but no doubt about it, he looks as though, at least mentally, he's ready to get back to the races, as we'll move on and go to the outside with number 6, Cook Creek, and another horse that I am familiar with. Now, I do think his best running, A, comes when he can control, and B, you could make the argument that some of his better efforts have come when there's moisture in the racetrack, but he's run well on dry tracks as well. Last time, I think, just completely over his head when he was 68-1 that day behind Magnitude and just kind of fell apart. He was coming off a little bit of a freshening too. And I wonder if he kind of needed it. Another horse that is just a bigger, broader, robust animal. And I will say that he just seemed a bit brighter than when I last saw him, which was a disappointing effort back at Saratoga when he was 6th behind some fellow foes in here, Film Star and Full Screen. He's going to need to turn things around, and he's also going to have to deal with some likely other pace presence, such as Film Star and even Bourbon Day, who was closer to the pace in his last start. Makes a good impression here, Lafitte, so we'll see how he does.
Full Screen, co-favorite, 2-1, while you continue to look at Cook Creek. Flavien Prat to ride. What a season. What a year. What else is new? Flavien Prat, 5 of them in this Queens County. Late pick 4 gets started here. Maggie discussing the pace and how the race shape should look in this mile and an eighth. Richie, what stood out in terms of what to expect from the start?
Well, I do believe that Film Star is best when he's allowed to roll along freely. I think if he gets pressure or gets outrun the lead, it takes his best opportunity away.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest field, and I think sometimes in those situations when you have tactical type horses, it can be a little bit interesting who decides to go. I will say this. When you have horses that are trained by Brad Cox, George Weaver, Bob Baffert, and they have speed, and others as well, they are not rating them. Tom Amos, another one, who's not going to take speed away from his horses. One of Brad's horses is going to go, and going to go to a certain extent a little bit, aggressively. I would imagine the pace will be honest enough in here.
Brad Cox with Full Screen and drawn inside. Kinetic, Godolphin. You mentioned jockeys preparing and riders up post-parade shortly for this Queen County Stakes. Some of the other preparations that take place getting the horses ready to compete on this type of day.
One thing people shouldn't, forget is that all the horses are stabled over at Belmont unless they're shipping from other jurisdictions. We don't have horses stabled at Aqueduct. So you get a bad, weather day, snow. We got to hope the roads are cleared in time so the vans can shuttle the horses over, the employees over. So sometimes the track might be in perfect shape. It's the conditions getting the horses and the people in and out of the racetrack that you have to be concerned with.
Yeah, Meg, talk a little bit about the horses in general. Would they rather have this temperature or 104 at Saratoga in the summer?
No, horses do much better in the cold. They love the cold. They'd be better off in that. You'll see more horses have trouble on hot days than you ever will on a cold day.
Still thinks he's hosting. Gonna just start commandeering the show and start firing away questions. Post-parade Queens County Stakes. There's Kinetic, Chris Elliott in the Godolphin Blue.
Yeah, he's 3 for 4 at the mile and 1/8 distance. He comes off a layoff, but Brad Cox is very good even off the layoff.
Bourbon Day, trainer Linda Rice, 1 win this afternoon. Record-smashing trainer Linda Rice.
Yes, all-time wins in 1 year for Linda Rice. This horse broke through last time, second start for Linda. Maybe he can take another step forward.
It was November 18th, 2022, last stakes win for Full Screen.
Yeah, right now, 100 buyer speed figure, triple-digit buyers. That's when you start entering the very, very good arena.
Film Star, more on him in a moment. Gustavo Rodriguez saddled last year's winner of this race. Then Cook Creek to the outside. Flavien Prat aboard 9-2.
Yeah, Cook Creek is, at least he's got the comfort of being outside. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do from a pace standpoint. He can be forward, he can rate, but he's got one of the best riders in the world. I would assume that rider, Flavien Prat, will make the right decisions from out there.
On this blustery afternoon, getting the starting gate in place, the runners in the Saturday feature at the Big A Queens County Stakes. Late pick 4 begins here. Right back to Maggie.
And I'm so pleased to be joined here in the, winner circle-ish. It's covered in snow by Glenn Kozak, our Executive Vice President of Operations. And Glenn, whenever we have weather, I feel like you and I team up for a little conversation. This time around, it's about the snow. What are the standard procedures for getting the track ready for racing when we have weather like this?
So I think with the storm we got last night, we're obviously watching the forecast and just planning for timing. The biggest thing is when we're able to get the snow off the track, when the storm ends. and then be able to have the time. Today was especially trying because of early post, 11 races today. So the guys, Brian Jabelman and his crew, did an unbelievable job today. 4 o'clock this morning, starting on this thing, getting it graded to the outside, snow blowing it, and then grading the track, and then just working it in. So it's always the balance of not having the snow stick to the cushion and watching what type of weather you get. And we're fortunate enough that, everything worked out well this morning with timing. So.
And a question just from my standpoint, is it always better when it stays colder, so that snow doesn't melt, I should say?
Exactly. And again, we've had the cloud cover today. It's hovering around 28, 29 degrees. There is still salt in the track. That's why you're showing the moisture content that's coming up in it. But, again, you like the slow release of it coming out. And then again, we've got rain coming tomorrow night. So, prepping for that. So that's why, taking the precautionary steps and trying to read the weather a couple days in advance on what we do on the track.
Well, Glenn, well done to you and your team. We have a great racing surface for this Saturday.
The guys did a great job, so they get the credit for what they did today. So thank you very much.
And Glenn, he is well acclimated to the cold Lafitte as he's out here in a t-shirt and a sweatshirt.
Maybe a Jake Cutler jersey underneath the Vandy sweatshirt. Glenn Kozak, great to hear from him, and can't overestimate how important of a job, how important of a role he fulfills here.
Just an incredible job he's done. He's taken the level of our racetracks, the safety level of our racetracks, to another place. I mean, he's just so on top of it. Listen, he was in the winner's circle. I told you it's always warm in the winner's circle. He just had a hoodie on.
Well, the one thing about it, too, is that, other racetracks only deal with certain climates, right? Del Mar deals with, nice weather
Good
all
weather.
the time.
Yeah.
Right. Gulfstream, kind of the same thing. Up here, though, he's got to deal with the summer in Saratoga, the rain in Saratoga, the snow here, the weather here. 4, 5 different turf courses. It's just a lot more to handle on Glenn's plate, and he does a great job doing that.
Maggie hit on something that's so critical. If it had gotten warm and the snow starts melting, you're going to have trouble. There's just going to be too much water content in the racetrack. And that's years ago we'd have trouble on the inner track. If it stayed cold, everything stayed tight and freeze-dried. It was when we had, those thaws, those warm days, we would lose the racetrack.
Let's get right back to Maggie as we've reached post time for the Queens County.
Thank you, guys. As we'll check in with your favorite, that is Full Screen. Look, I didn't like his appearance in the paddock last time, but he ran a hole in the wind. Will he be able to recreate that? I'm going with him here based upon that performance, but yet again, I'm not sure that he looks like the best horse in here. Now, on the other hand, a horse that comes in off of 2 really disappointing efforts, but first off the claim for Gustavo Rodriguez is number 5, Film Star. He lost his way when claimed away from Linda Rice, who had him for a good bit of his career and to a lot of success. He looked fabulous yet again, and we've seen Gus, who's looking for another Queens County on his resume, do very well with these high-level claims, and he does look as though he could be the quickest of the quick. Lafitte?
Knows where this could all be headed. Gustavo Rodriguez with Film Star. Last year winning with Phileas Fogg, eventual Suburban winner the following summer at Saratoga.
Yeah, and we've all put a lot of weight on the 4 here, but listen, I think the key to Film Star's success is being able to control the race from the lead. He doesn't want to be in a chase mode.
4 to 5, Full Screen, odds-on favorite. 3 to 5 now. Chris Griffin with the call. The Queens County from Aqueduct live on FS1.
Goes in. Here's Film Star.
I look for it to roll a lot.
Cook Creek, last to load. All set for the Queens County. And they're off. From the outside, flashing early speed, it's Film Star and also Cook Creek. And these two are going to hook up early, and they are hard sent as Film Star wanted to be in front and will get to the lead. It is Film Star to show the way, but pressure from Cook Creek, and these two quickly put 5, almost 6 lengths on Full Screen. And the favorites getting a dream trip right now is in third, just watching the top 2 go at it. Just in behind them comes Bourbon Day, second to last, and the trailer is Kinetic. And the pace duel is on in the Queens County. It is Film Star and Cook Creek, and there are no easy leads. They are within a neck of one another. Taking a look at the early fractions, 23.18 for that opening quarter mile. Full Screen, patiently ridden, is right there in tandem with Bourbon Day. They're third and fourth, and Kinetic is the trailer as Film Star still with a head in front. Cook Creek is not going anywhere, 47.20 for a half-mile time, and Full Screen starts to move in closer now, is trying to get away from Bourbon Day, who's asked for more, and Kinetic is the trailer. Less than a half mile to go. Film Star, Cook Creek. They haven't changed the running order much. These two have gone at it early, and Full Screen is looking for a lane, and it might be at the rail. Here comes Manny Franco, and Full Screen gets a dream run and passes the top two with ease. Tipping to the outside will be Bourbon Day with an outside run. Cook Creek is trying to hang in there too. It is Full Screen who takes command, has a quarter mile left to go, went 1:12 and 4 for 3/4, and Full Screen is trying to open up here on the field, and here is Full Screen now up by 5-6 powerful lengths. Approaching a final furlong, Cook Creek is still hanging in there, is alone in second. Also Bourbon Day trying to rally on too, but no doubt with a 16th left to go, it is all Full Screen. Dominates here in the Queens County. Full Screen wins it over Cook Creek, then came Bourbon Day and Kinetic in 1 minute 51.26 seconds.
That decisive move rounding the turn. Full Screen opened up, never looked back. 2 straight daylight wins, Full Screen, and a first stakes victory in over 3 years, winning this Queens County.
Talk about a perfect trip. I mean, he had 2 horses, Film Star and Cook Creek, battling it out. They open up down the backstretch. Manny Franco sitting in that perfect position in third. Patient until he had the 3-horse kind of move, forced him to go forward. But the rail's open. So not only are you getting the best trip, you're getting the shortest path home on the best horse. Full Screen is in good form, Jonathan.
Richie, I got to imagine as a rider, so many days you're having to partner with your horse, encouraging them to go to certain places, to give you a little bit more. Manny didn't have to talk to the horse at all. The horse did all of that on his own. He sat comfortably. He ran up into that hole without being asked, and he ran away from the competition with a couple of shakes of the rein. That's got to be a real comfortable place to operate.
3 wins on the afternoon. Manny Franco, Full Screen. Maggie made it look all too easy in the end.
And rightfully so, Manny riding with the utmost confidence for this 6-year-old who, guys, by big screen only cost $7,280 at Canadian yearling sale. This is one cool horse. Now he's now amassed nearly 600,000. I think that does put him over that mark now. But I do want to give a little credit to our runner-up in number 6, Cook Creek, who was dueling on the front end through those fast fractions and still hung in gamely. But Full Screen, he's in top form right now.
Razor sharp, Full Screen, $7,000 purchase. That's that 7th round pick, right? That it really does wind up panning out.
Is that 7,000 Canadian or American?
Either way. Either way, a bargain. And the easiest of wins. When we come back, trainer Mark Cassie, strong start, Oaklawn, poised to keep it going. Several live 2-year-olds today on this big day of racing for freshmen in Hot Springs. Welcome back. Great to have you with us on FS1, America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. How about full screen? Handicappers zeroing in on this one, JK. A race that looked competitive on paper. In the end, he hammered him and got hammered at the window, so to speak, 4-5 at post time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer in speed figures, and this horse last time earned a triple-digit Beyer speed figure. The higher, the better, like a quarterback rating in football. And like I said, when you get to that 100, that triple-digit, you're starting to get really darn good, like elite level. And that was his first time doing that, and it seems that it was hinting at a performance like this, and that hint was accurate. And this horse has now thrust himself in the conversation of probably some bigger and better races.
Last year's Queens County winner, eventual Suburban winner. What's in Full Screen's future? Only time will tell. To Maggie in the winner's circle.
Well, it seems only fitting that the Canadian bred is thriving in the cold weather, as I'm pleased to be joined by winning rider Manny Franco. And Manny, back-to-back winning efforts by blowout, confident margins. Talk a little bit about how well Full Screen is doing right now.
Full Screen doing so great. I mean, Brad and his team had him really good. The horse is different, so I'm happy to be on him right now. And he's a horse that is improving race by race, and like I said, I'm happy to be on his back.
I mean, better late than never. As a 6, nearly 7-year-old now, Manny, we do see you had a lot of kickback. Are the horses kind of running through that here on this wintry track?
Yeah, he was pulling me. He don't really care the kickback, the mud. He was, like I said, he was pulling me. I have, in the 3/8 pole, he just see the space, the daylight in the 3/8 pole, and he just went for it. So say, well, if you want to go, let's go. I mean, I don't stop his momentum, and after that, in the quarter pole, when he switched lead, he just go on again. And
That has to be the greatest feeling.
no, he's the best. Best feeling.
Well done, you. Congratulations with this Queens County win.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Manny Franco and Full Screen teaming up for yet another big win. Lafitte?
Sharp, very sharp. Franco, 3 wins on the afternoon, second in the standings, and closing out 2025 in fine fashion.
In strong fashion. He finishes strong on a horse. He's finishing the year strong. Full Screen. We needed a Full Screen to keep him in the frame because he won off so easily.
Onward and upward, Full Screen. What about the young horses just getting their careers started? As we shift gears about 1,300 miles southwest, Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, every race you see 2-year-olds this afternoon. Let's meet the field for the 4th, starting off with Palmer Beach, number 3, who split a field of 11 in his debut opening weekend.
Yeah, it took no money on debut, but I thought actually did show a little bit of interest late. There was a bit of run there.
Rochester third at 54-1 in his Churchill debut.
Another one who took no money on debut, broke a little slow too, also a concern.
6-string Prince, Ron Moquette trained colts to break side by side.
Making his 3rd start, stretching out to the mile distance. By Blame, you're going to get that stallion influence there.
Kansu struggles getting out of the blocks.
Yeah, did really no running in his first 2 starts.
Wicked Gun, trainer Steve Asmussen zeroing in on another milestone.
Yeah, it drops to the maiden 75 level for the first time. Feels like he's just going to have to improve, though.
Edzo said so, cold on the board.
Yeah, well, I hope this is for Edzo. I
was gonna text. Yes, it is. I was gonna text and I didn't. It is.
Absolutely, 100%.
I'm the worst. Way to be prepared, Lafitte. Candy Cane Crane, the favorite, 9-5.
Finished well on synthetic. Will that translate to dirt at Oaklawn?
Race ready, back to dirt after testing turf at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, his dirt races weren't bad, but the switch to turf was a little bit curious.
No more Kings. First route parked outside.
Yeah, 3rd, though, and ran well on dirt on debut at Churchill Downs. So tough post, though. Really got to overcome that, especially with the short run of the first turn.
The runners in the 4th, these 2-year-olds. We have boots on the ground all meet as we say hello to Megan Burgess on site at Oaklawn Park. Megan, a little bit warmer when we were there covering opening weekend together.
Right. I miss you, Lafitte. It's been a minute, but I'm excited for you to come back and join us for Smarty Jones weekend next weekend. But as you mentioned, it's Future Champions Day here, an all 2-year-old card. And man, it was fun to get through this one as far as from handicapping perspective and starting in this maiden auction restricted or claiming event for these 2-year-olds going that mile route of ground. I thought this was so interesting now that I got to look at them in the flesh. It completely changed my point of view as we take a look at the number 11, No More Kings for Greg Compton. Not taking as much money as I thought this horse would, but especially at 3-1 morning line, Christian Torres aboard. But I just didn't love this horse in the flesh. He's one that's certainly getting into his winter coat. He just didn't do it for me physically. He's very much that lighter boned route type, so I'd imagine him stretching out to this route of ground won't be an issue. And as Richie said, drawing that outside post, a short run to the first turn will be up against it as far as that's concerned. But he's just a bit distracted. I just did not love him physically. I wish he had more muscle mass behind in general. And he just didn't really do it for me, even though I liked him from a handicapping perspective. But the 10, Race Ready for Norm Cassie, he looks great in the flesh. He's dappled out. He looks fantastic as he gets back to the dirt off of that turf try, which does make sense considering the pedigree. And he's been working well here at Oaklawn Park, and one that I find just doesn't have too much leg to him. I wonder if he's going to want this route of ground distance, which was a question for me up there at 6-1. But the number 9, Candy Cane Crane, there, of course, Stephen Crane involved in that ownership group for Kenny McPeak, who's been off to a red hot start. I also have my question marks. I didn't land on him here, but he had kind of picked his knees up, and on the synthetic can kind of be indicative of those turf horses, those synthetic types. So we'll see. I think he's one that's well muscled, still growing into himself. I ended up kind of landing on him by default in this race, but I mean, last time out it was nice the way he settled and ran. So that's where I landed the number 9 up there at 9-5 for the Kenny McPeak barn, who's off to quite a roll here. Lafitte.
You have company, Candy Cane Crane, 9-5 at post time. Final thoughts.
The 8 horse is named for Ed Olchek, our friend and colleague. Edzo said so. Newtown Honor, owned by Morris Regan. Tony Milan, Johnny Velasquez's longtime valet, very close to Morris Regan, named this horse. And he was a big hockey goalie at one time, turned to horse racing instead.
Nobody better.
5's going to outrun his odds here.
Nobody better than Edzo. Won't meet a better human being. But what about his namesake? What about the horse? We're about to find out. Just his debut, Edzo said so. The favorite directly to his outside, number 9, Candy Cane Crane. Matt Dinneman with a call. The 4th 2-year-old's taking center stage at Oaklawn.
And they're off. Edzo said so, the first-time starter, away slowly. Rochester put into play, 6-string Prince, the stablemate naturally quick. These two hook up as they go towards the first turn run. Palmer Beach right behind them, running in the 3rd position. Wicked Gun between horses gets shuffled back to 5th around the first turn run here. In the meantime, 6-string Prince is going on with it. Rochester takes a hold and will track from the inside second. A little bit keen, though. Wicked Gun behind the speed, also eager. Race Ready on the outside, passing a few runners and claims second swinging up the backstretch run. Palmer Beach relaxed on the fence is 5th now and is 4 lengths off the pace with Edzo Said So, Candy Cane Crane to the outside. Gap of 2 to Kansu and No More Kings as they head down the backstretch here. 6-string Prince, the leader a half length. Rochester still a little eager, but he's on the inside running in second as they go towards the half-mile pole. Race Ready in 3rd, Nickel the Long now. Wicked Gun to his inside as they approach the 4th turn. Palmer Beach saving ground around the 4th turn, continues to race on the rail. Candy Cane Crane is next. Pumped Upon, he's 5 from the top, followed by Kansu. And then comes No More Kings, needs to pick it up. He's under a hard ride. Edzo Says So has dropped out of it. Top of the stretch, 6-string Prince in front. Race Ready coming up alongside now. Rochester is 3rd and starting to back away. Candy Cane Crane needs to pick it up. This race will end at the 16th pole. They're off the turn. Race Ready, 6-string Prince. They are going at it. 6-string Prince inside. Outside, it's Race Ready. Race Ready, 6-string Prince head and head. Nose and nose. 6-string Prince inside. Race Ready being repelled by 6-string Prince, who wins it. 6-string Prince. Amir Mendoza with a double. Race Ready was 2nd. Big space back to Candy Cane Crane and No More Kings.
Thrilling race. Thrilling finish. These 2-year-olds lock up in deep stretch and battle to the wire. 6-string Prince turns back the challenge of Race Ready late.
How about a 7-pound apprentice getting his second win on the card here in Amira Mendoza. Horse was drifting steadily through the lane, but I think outgamed the horse pretty fair and square. Let's see it. This drone shot gives us a better idea of how far he actually drifted. He's taking a lot of ground there. I don't see any contact at that point, but he kind of consistently, steadily drifted. And if there was an issue, I guess they could say that could be an issue right there.
Robbins Racing.
That's what I think, but what the stewards might think might be something else.
Lafitte, I thought the 5 was going to outrun his odds. I didn't mean I thought he was going to win. I just thought he was going to hit the board. He was 15-1 in those last couple of flashes, so it appears that someone else thought that the horse was going to run well as well.
And these 2-year-olds early on in their career, you love to see that fight and that competitive nature, neither backing down.
That's something that can't be taught. Either a horse has that tenacity, that will, the desire to win, or he doesn't. 6-string Prince, by blame. I thought the stretching out would benefit this horse, particularly with that pedigree. And I like when they have those 2 sprints.
That classic pattern. All came together today. Blame, Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Claiborne Stallion, only horse ever to have defeated a Zenyatta. 6-string Prince at Oaklawn. When we come back, what do you know? Belmont Stakes back at Saratoga. We'll do it again this summer for the 3rd straight year. Exciting new year on tap in New York. That's next.
$1,600,000 $1,600,000 $1,600,000 bid now $650,000 $1,650,000 anybody else want $650,000 bid today $1,650,000 thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Arcangelo, the Belmont winner in charge. The Grade 1 Whitney to Arthur's ride.
And a dare manner will take the Clementel Hirsch. Olympiad gets the gold. It is Timberlake who's going to win.
Tap it twice. Tap it twice.
Sierra Leone in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away. When you want to reward yourself. When you deserve to indulge. When you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing starts December 12th. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs. And come join the fun.
Next June, one final time. Belmont Stakes at Saratoga for the 3rd year. 3rd and final jewel of the Triple Crown will take place at the Spa in front of a massive crowd just like that. Renovations continuing at the new Belmont Park, tentatively scheduled to open next September. Triple Crown will once again conclude at Saratoga. 2024 Dornick, tenacious in victory. This year Sovereignty, just brilliant. Who will win the final Belmont Stakes at Saratoga? We'll find out June 6th. Other key dates and notes for the new year upcoming. 196 racing days on the Naira Circuit. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, June 3rd through the 7th. Final day at Aqueduct, June 27th, the end of an era indeed. Saratoga, 46 racing days in 26. And right now, the date is September 18th, Belmont Park, the reimagined Belmont Park to open. And looking way ahead, 203 racing dates in 2027. More on all of that in just a moment. But first, down to Maggie in the paddock, 5 minutes out.
Lafitte, we'll take a look at horses not named Mo 88, who is your prohibitive favorite and absolutely should be, given his last start, which was his first start on a dry main track. It was stunning. It looked as though it was stakes quality. Now, the horse that is the second choice right now is number 5, Alan Turing, who kind of had a similar makeup when you looked at his form. The bulk of his running had been done on the turf, and it was pretty successful throughout turf season here in 2025. And I thought he ran incredibly well, just missing, just out-bobbed, if you will. As he broke well, he kind of sat against the bridle to right inside, then he tipped out at the quarter pole, while the winner ran well from behind, but kind of ran up the inside through the stretch. I've always liked Alan Turing. He's actually a pretty good-looking horse, very good-looking horse, to be fair. But I do wonder, the main track, well, it's in excellent condition and it's totally fair out there. The track back on December 4th was just a bit more glib. It was yielding fast time, so therefore one could assume that it was a tighter racetrack overall. And I say that because I do worry that he might truly be more of a turf horse. So we'll see how he adjusts today. I do respect him, but I'm a little concerned about the track. Moving on to number 2, Jackson Heights. We know he's a dirt horse and he's a late running sort, where I do like the 7 furlongs for him, getting back to the fast main track today. And he's put in some good efforts, often at bigger prices. The one thing I will note about him on this particular occasion here is that he is wearing front wraps for the first time ever, or the first time in a long time, to be fair, showing his form on DRF right now. So we'll see. I'm not sure either if he necessarily gets the right setup, how much pace there is in here. Obviously, Looms Boldly feels like the fastest, but will there be enough pace to heat things up for him to close into? Lafitte?
And something to watch right from the start, how the pace unfolds in this 9th race. Aqueduct, this extended sprint, 7/8 of a mile. Jonathan, and looking at the wagering here with an odds-on favorite, Mo 88, 1-4 with riders up.
Yeah, the one thing about Mo 88 that I think if you want to poke a hole in the 1-4, I think he's going to be tough, is the fact that his style is one that is inviting to funny business happening. Someone getting loose on the front end, you getting stopped, going wide, mistiming the ride. Now, you have that guy, Flavien Prat, involved, so a lot of those things feel a little bit more unlikely than if it was somebody else. But it still is a possibility at a short price taking a closer like that.
Trustworthy, in your opinion? Richie, Mo 88?
Well, I think the problem is there's not a tremendous amount of speed signed on here other than Looms Boldly. Where is the pace coming from? Potentially the 9 Clancy Fancy, but from a rider's perspective, when you're drawn 9 of 9, you don't have a lot of urgency leaving the gate. So you go, well, I'll stalk the fast Looms Boldly, who I question wanted 7/8. He got it done well against easier last time.
The one thing about Looms Boldly, though, I think from a pace standpoint, is he's not the type that's going to go out there and walk the dog. He's going to make the pace fast, even if he's by himself.
Sure. See him again in the post parade. Meet the field. There's Rock the Weekend.
Yeah, Rock the Weekend, just going to have to improve from anything we've seen lately. Did handle a sloppy track last April here.
Faster the better for the aforementioned Jackson Heights. Then very funny revving his engines.
Been in good form, was able to get up a first level allowance, and Bill Murray seems to have him in a good place right now.
Alan Turing just missed at the level December 4th.
Yeah, that was a really good effort. And this was a horse that was coming off of turf races. Could build on that.
Manny Franco just won the Queens County, looking for a 4th win this afternoon. There's Dolly's Bank.
I think Dolly's Bank needs a class drop. 95-1, 73-1, 74-1, 52-1.
Overmatched, an outsider and then some. Then Looms Boldly went wire to wire boldly here last month.
I think when the gates open, you'll see where Looms Boldly likes to be, and that's on the lead.
Mo 88 coming in hot, strictly the one to beat.
Yeah, exits the 1-turn mile, now cuts back to the 1-turn 7/8. I think this horse is going to be rolling late. He's just better than these.
2-5. Then number 9, Clancy Fancy, outside post today after the rail draw in his latest.
Well, projects to get a good trip. Just feels like he's going to have to improve, though, a better race than we've seen recently from him.
Field of 8, New York bred, sprinting 7/8 of a mile, circling back to Mo 88 and Flavien Prat 2-5. And this is part of the reason why his most recent effort, November 29th, right here, his first start on a fast dirt track, Jonathan, and he is gone.
Yeah, maybe that's just what he's been looking for this entire time. He's one that you want to make sure he stays connected, but that's one of the things that Flavien does so well is he's a great judge of pace. He's an aggressive rider who puts horses in, gets his position moving forward. And so you'd like to think that, very similar to what Ricardo did here, he'll keep him close enough, or maybe even a little bit closer in these circumstances. But if he runs his last race, and I have no reason to believe he won't run his last race, he's going to blow by all these other horses.
You kind of like that, this is a TriStar farm. Joe Lestrito, the patriarch of the Lestrito family, trained their own horses for years. He passed away. This was their first Christmas without him. They had Doc Sullivan win yesterday. Chance Moquette manages TriStar Farm, and it's so great. I mean, all of Joe's grandchildren, children, and great-grandchildren were out yesterday for Doc Sullivan. And the stable is doing really, really well. Wow, I like the way he had his legs up underneath him in the warm-up, as does the 5 as well. Man, these horses, 2 horses are making great impressions. That's Alan Turing as well as Mo 88.
Right back to Maggie as we've reached post time for this 9th of 11 on a Saturday at Aqueduct.
Yeah, I agree that these two look like the ones you want in here, and credit to John Ortiz as well for getting these horses to run so well for the TriStar Farm, as well as just any horses he's running here in New York. But taking a look at number 3, Very Funny for Bill Morey, who was able to get the job done off the layoff. Now, I did not cover that race, but historically speaking, when it comes to Very Funny, he is quite a chunk. He's a horse that is very thick-boned, carries a lot of weight. But looking at him here, second off the bench and off the back of that win, he does look incredibly fit. And Bill's done a great job managing this horse. Obviously, he, out of 3 starts for the barn, he's won twice. And I thought it was a good effort considering that Roofer, while he did take some pressure, was still able to stick around for a second as Very Funny circled up 4 wide around the turn and kind of found that last gear late. So looking at the way he finished that 6 furlong race, he should be A-okay here at the 7. I didn't love him in the paddock per se, other than thinking he looked fit for him, relatively speaking. But he really kind of warmed up in my eyes once I watched him warm up. He's moving so well out there, framed up beautifully. So I ultimately do think that Mo 88, much the horse to beat. Love me some Alan Turing, but it does look like Very Funny should give his best effort. Lafitte?
With Kendrick Carmouche, Maggie. Carmouche looking for a second win this afternoon, 8-1 in Very Funny. Another look, JK, at the favorite, though, and Flavian Pratt 1-2, Mo 88.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Looms Boldly is going to keep the pace as a whole for this group honest enough. I think Looms Boldly kind of last time was the time. I'm not too worried about him wiring this group. He's going to have some better horses closing into him this time around. And I just feel like the 8 Mo 88 is going to stay close enough. And if he's not close enough, then it's my opinion that the pace will be fast enough for him to close into. I don't love playing short price horses that need things to go their own way. It just so happens to me that I think he's much the best in this group.
Alan Turing, Richie, and Manny Franco looking to register a 4th win.
I have no false illusions. I do believe Mo 88 is going to be tough to beat, but Alan Turing won me over in the post parade. Good effort last time on dirt. And I'm just a big fan of Marlene Brody, the owner of Gallagher's Stud. She's done such an amazing job with the farm ever since Jerry Brody, her husband, passed away.
Late December, Saturday afternoon, final weekend of the year here at the Big A. As they've reached the starting gate and we've reached post time for the 9th of 11 at Aqueduct. Mo 88 odds on at post time. Chris Griffin with the call, the 9th from Aqueduct live on FS1.
Goes in, all set. And they're off. Clancy Fancy broke like a shot from the outside. So does Looms Boldly is in the early mix. And now Looms Boldly puts a neck in front. That'll push Clancy Fancy back to second. Very Funny didn't want to be on the inside. Switches to the outside. Is now 3 wide. Chasing the leaders. Just off of them, it's another 3.5. Back to Dolly's Bank, who's traveling right there in tandem with Mo 88. They're another 4 in front of Rock the Weekend. The 2 at the back. Alan Turing with late running Jackson Heights as they work up the backstretch, 23.24 for the opening quarter mile, and Looms Boldly's got the lead. Clancy Fancy is right there within a neck of one another, and now 4 furlongs left to go. Very Funny wanted that outside running path 3 wide, is in pursuit, and Mo 88 starts to warm to the task now, is taking a clear 4th. Dolly's Bank is all in as they're in 5th from the back. Jackson Heights is trying to run on with Alan Turing. Rock the Weekend is the trailer. 46-4. The pace setters are done, and here comes Barry Funny to take the front. Mo 88 follows that move, and Barry Funny is going to try to hold off the charge of Mo 88 down the center of the racetrack, and Mo 88 sprints on by. Mo 88 is approaching a final furlong. Barry Funny is a clear second from the back. Alan Turing is trying to rally on late, but a 16th left to go. It's a good day to be a gray. Mo 88 dominates here in today's ninth. Barry Funny will be second. Then came Alan Turing, followed by Jackson Heights in 1 minute 22.65 seconds.
Heavily backed favorites performing accordingly in the last couple of races. Aqueduct full screen, running off the screen in the Queens County odds on, and Mo 88 here making short work of his competition in the ninth, and back-to-back blowout wins for him.
And he always was traveling like a winner, JK. He was in the bridle. Flavien Prat, such a master at position. He's most reminiscent of Jerry Bailey to me, the way he approaches his rides and his philosophy on riding. And Mo 88 was much, much the best here. And funny story, Joe Lustrito, the father, the patriarch of the Lustrito family, used to call everybody Mo. I think it's because he couldn't remember people's names.
My old man does the same thing, but it's campeón. Everybody's campeón. Your dad called me champion. No, he doesn't remember your first name.
Angel used to say that your dad would call him campeón.
See?
And he would be like, man, Lafitte thinks I'm great. No.
He said, Angel told the story. He said that your dad said it to him, and he went back to New York, and he was so happy. And then one day, there was like a taxi driver picking up your dad, and he called him campeón. He's like,
campeón.
Oh, yeah. He calls everybody campeón.
Calls me campeón from time to time. Mo 88. Making it look all too easy. Maggie was touching on the 3-horse there who runs well. Kendrick Carmouche to complete the exacta. Very funny, but too much Mo 88 in the end. When we come back, among Oaklawn's best, jockey Christian Torres, solid start to the meet. What else is new? And Francisco Arrieta ambushed Torres late to capture last season's riding title. Can he do it again? Right back to Oaklawn, the 5th in 8 minutes. Welcome back. It's blustery Saturday afternoon at Aqueduct. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Jonathan, Mo, 88. Another easy runaway victory.
Yeah, I mean, look, Zenyatta, you mentioned a little bit earlier, in her win streak as a closer, you thought she was going to lose every time. This horse had never felt like he was losing. It's hard to do. It's hard as a closer to make it look like at every point of the race you're in complete control.
Yeah, but the way he was traveling, right? He's in the bridle. That allows the rider to really gauge how much horse he has underneath him, and he powers away. Now, listen, they've got Doc Sullivan, who's in raging form. I think Doc Sullivan's going to start worrying about his younger stablemate here, because this horse has got to be New York bred stake-bound after this effort.
And there were a lot of different experiments as far as track surface and grass, and wound up on the main track, but it was sloppy. Introduced to a fast track in his last start, on a fast track today, and clearly this is the preferred footing of Mo 88.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we look at a horse's pedigree, we look at their conformation, and we make a decision on what surface they may be best at. We have opinions. The horses have the answers. You know, I've seen horses with no pedigree become good horses and create their own pedigree, and then you get horses that are bred by a champion out of a champion, and they just can't run. Genetics takes you so far, you got to look at the individual.
And though it may take some time, Jonathan, it's just exciting once it's all figured out what it takes for a racehorse to maximize potential.
Well, I think it's why you see the emotion you see in the winner's circle when you see those post-race interviews, is because there's so many ways for horses to get beat. There's so many ways for horses not to make it to the races. So when you get one there, you figure them out, and you get them to win. It doesn't matter if they're 2 to 5. It still feels good when you're involved with them, because 2 to 5 shots get beat every single day.
They've been trustworthy in the last couple of races. A second win in the afternoon there. Flavian Pratt, Mo 88. 286 for your would-be $2 investment. Good effort, Barry Funny. Alan Turing, 835 in the 9th at the Big A. 2 races left here. Lots of terrific 2-year-old racing still coming up. Oaklawn Park. Arkansas breds next. 2-year-old fillies. Big field. And we'll start with Shrimp Cookie. Currently 12 to 1. They'll be sprinting a mile. There's actually Valeska's Promise, like Shrimp Cookie, a first-time starter by Mark Valeski.
Yeah, shows up in here. Has one recorded work at Oaklawn. Has been working at Retama Park.
Tallahassee, third career start, trying something new after 2 sprints. A stretch out, then Miss Chocolate at 10 to 1.
I meant Remington Park earlier.
Close
I did Retama, San Antonio, very close to Austin, very close, near and dear to my heart, so my bad.
Bees luck, Alyssa Larson's first-time starter.
Yeah, first-time starter, not taking much money. We try to let the board help us in these situations.
She's so Cole, first start against much tougher Churchill.
Something tells me, Lafitte, all you got was coal for Christmas.
You're not far off, my friend, not far off. Secret Slew, 5 to 2 second choice.
Comes off a really nice effort against maidens here, Arkansas breds at Oaklawn, after what I thought was an educational first start at Remington Park.
C-Note Gia, another fresh face, cold on the board. Then the 11, She's My Last Call at 7 to 1.
You're taking some money, a first fall out of an unraced mare, but 7 to 1 is taking money.
There's the other Mark Valeski first-time starter, Shrimp Cookie, the debuting filly at 12 to 1.
Tough post for a debuting filly, but I like the comprehensive work tab.
Inuit towards the outside in those famed short-leaf colors. Then number 13, Lil Miss Independent, draws in. That's 3 first-time starters by Mark Valeski in the field.
Yeah, and drawn far outside. Not a great post either. Young horses tend to run to empty space. Out of a mare, Cece's Baby Girl, this is her first fall. 52 starts. She was nothing if not durable.
The field, these 2-year-old fillies, Arkansas bred freshman fillies. Back to Megan on site at Oaklawn Park. Megan.
Well, a couple of these fillies are certainly getting hammered out the windows, and the number 8 in there, she's so cool for the Lindsay Schultz barn, who happens to be Arkansas bred royalty as far as her pedigree is concerned, as she is a half to that multiple graded stakes winner in Holland Ice, and one that, as along with the 9 Secret Slew, I thought they looked very similar physically, and one that you really couldn't, when it got on track, you couldn't quite tell them all that way apart. But the number 8, she's so cool. Sports, as I mentioned, that big big pedigree and gets to stretch out in distance from a 6-furlong sprint debut there at Churchill Downs, where she showed some speed early on the outside and continued chasing on the outside. She hung in tough between horses. Then she kind of got to the wet rail and it faded just a bit, but 6 to come out of that race. None have been winners. I didn't want to accept her at an overly short price, fully aware that the Lindsay Schultz barn has been on an absolute tear when it comes to those 2-year-olds here at Oaklawn Park. And obviously, I do think that she might be one that might benefit from the distance as far as the sire is concerned. We'll see. Obviously, have to a very talented sprinter now getting the stretch out. But the number 9, Secret Slew there for the Donnie von Himmelbarn. And I agree with Meg. This horse comes out of a fantastic effort, I thought, last time out and has finished well in each of her 2 tries, though without kind of progressing in speed figures. But she now gets to the mile and last out here back on opening day. She came off the pace, was 3 wide into the stretch, and then she kind of steered for room and finished really well, being second to Brunia that day. The dam was a winner sprinting, and she's a half to 2 sibs who won sprinting, so maybe a question mark on distance, but I thought she tried it out beautifully on track. I didn't have any issues with her, and she was actually who I landed on in this group. But just to touch quickly on the number 12, Inui, for the John Ortiz barn there, I just thought this horse physically looked like a horse that would appreciate the route of ground distance, a very leggy type as far as that physical is concerned. I did no running on debut, but hoping to improve as they enter the starting gate. I went with the number 9, Secret Lou there for the Donnie von Himmelbarn. Lafitte?
You as well, Richie. Secret Slew.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really nice effort last time, and I think stretching out, he was a little bit one-paced. We'll hit this filly right between the eyes where she can just stay on, just, rely more on stamina than turn of foot.
Different direction for you, JK.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tallahassee. A little bit of that experience and Ron Moquette seeing the ball really well.
2 sprints and the stretch out. Arkansas bred 2-year-old fillies. Final check of the tote board. She's So Cool, 7 to 5 at post time. Matt Dinnerman with the call with the 5th race live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 1.
She's So Cool is loaded. I Knew It goes in. Couple back here. Bees Luck and Little Miss Independent. Little Miss Independent coming up to the outside. Remember, this race, folks, will start and end in the same spot, the green and yellow pole. That's the 16th pole. We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful beginning. Tallahassee is prominent early. Here's the favorite. She's So Cold to take control of things along with Tallahassee. They're even approaching the first turn run. She's My Last Call runs in third right off of them. She's So Cold gets to the lead, and Tallahassee will take a hold and track from second, now losing that second spot to She's My Last Call, the first-time starter. She's So Cold, the favorites in front. Secret Slew runs in the 4th position with Bees Luck. I Knew It down on the inside of horses, slips inside of both runners, and is 5 lengths off the lead, swinging up the backstretch. Little Miss Independent, she's next with Valeska's Promise. Miss Chocolate is in midfield. They're strung out here. Miss Chocolate probably about 10 or 11 lengths behind with Shrimp Cookie and a big space back to the trailer, C-Note Gia, as they head down the backstretch. She's So Cold went off at 4 to 5, leads the way here, a half length approaching the 4-turn run. She's My Last Call right behind, chasing second. I Knew It into third, but she's under a ride going into the 4-turn run. Tallahassee calls it an afternoon. She's done. Secret Slew into the 4th position, but she's plotting in place. There's a lot of ground to make up, as do the rest of them now, as She's So Cold's turning it on. She's So Cold has increased the lead to 6 lengths in a matter of strides. Maybe even 8, maybe even 10 coming off the turn. She's So Cold is all alone on the lead. Miss Chocolate into the 2nd position. Secret Slew is still 3rd, but inside the furlong pole, She's So Cold 15 ahead coming down the lane, and the full sibling to Hall and Ice. This one can run as well. She's So Cold. Absolutely dominant. The definition of dominant today. She's So Cold. Big, big effort. Miss Chocolate's 2nd. Secret Slew was 3rd. 4th home, Shrimp Cookie.
Well bred, Arkansas bred filly. She's So Cold. Richie runs up the score in the 5th at Oaklawn Park.
When Francisco Arrieta allowed her to stride out, leaving the 5/16 pole, she just widened with every step and won with something left. This was just a devastatingly dominant performance.
Wow, look at that. Yeah. She literally was trying to run off the screen. She ran the other ones off the screen. She was so far ahead.
if you like turned on the show right now, it's like, oh, who's breezing in between races at Oaklawn?
Paid public workout, which essentially it was.
Yeah, and Matt Dinnerman touched on something that's important just to put this into as a reference point. Now she is a winning half-sister to Hall and Ice. Her value has gone up significantly because of that. She has the pedigree to support the fact that she's also a winner on the racetrack. I would imagine those connections and that trainer, those owners are getting some phone calls for some people that like to have a nice, fast Arkansas bred.
Ears pricked. What else do you want from me? Says She's So Cool with Francisco Arrieta, last season's champion jockey, teaming up with Lindsay Schultz. More on Schultz later in the broadcast. J&J Thoroughbred She's So Cool. Impressive, graduating in her second career start. Much more on America's Day at the Races. And more on Flavien Prat. What a season. And closing out 2025 very strong. 2 wins this afternoon, and Pratt not done yet. Much more from the Big A. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1.
And here's Tama in the final stages. The Santa Anita Derby goes to Tama. It's Tama, absolutely terrific, winning Malibu by 4 widening lengths.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome to the 2025 Keeneland September Yearling Sale, where history was made when Three Chimneys Gunrunner, the sire of 2025 Grade 1 winners Sierra Leone, Locked, and Brent, became the first horse in the history of the Keeneland September Sale to sire the session topper of each of the first 4 sessions. Among them was the $3.3 million sale topper, purchased by Peter Brent, MV Magner, and Winchell Thoroughbreds. Gunrunner, Breed Shaper, Dream Maker.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Welcome back. Live look Aqueduct, America's Day at the Races on FS1, brought to you in part by Hill & Dale Atalapa. 10th race on tap. Horses in the paddock. $75,000 allowance optional claimer a mile. Field and updated odds. Scratch numbers 1, 6, 8. BU number 3. Odds on 4 to 5 favorite. To Maggie, standing by in the paddock.
And Lafitte, I do think number 3 BU should be the favorite, as I thought he ran very well behind the uber talented yet rarely seen Knightsbridge in his last start, having to play Knightsbridge's game and come from well out of it. But I'm going to check in with his stablemate here. Posted on the far outside is number 14 Donegal Surges, who ran well, though well beaten by Bourbon Day, who we did see run 3rd. Another one that was well beaten in the Queens County a few races ago. But Donegal Surges, he'll add blinkers as he does come off of an effort where you have to land on the more positive side of things, considering his first race back was deplorable. Now, he hasn't run particularly well at this mile distance in the past, but maybe those were situational things, and that both of them, or the two that show as of late, were off of long layoffs. And he's a hard horse to determine what distance is best, because while physically he looks like a mile should be right up his alley, some of his better efforts are sprinting. So looking at him here, as he does add a pair of shortcut cheater blinkers, they have yet to put them on, as this is a full field and we're waiting for some horses to still get their tack on. Again, I think he looks great. I thought he looked fabulous last time out. Back on November 21st. He's a little bit more quiet today. He was kind of marching around the paddock in his last effort, but we'll see how he does as we'll move on to a horse that is lightly raced but does appear to have talent, and that's number 4, V Cruiser. Now, he is one of several horses that I think could show speed in here, as he was able to control on the front end last time out, and he looked so comfortable out there, ears flicking back and forth, and then he dug in gamely to hold off all late charges. And I think it's always promising when Linda is, careful with her spots of horses, and she's incredibly patient with them. Usually speaks to the fact that she does feel as though they have talent, and I'm getting that vibe from her with V Cruiser. He's incredibly fit here, as he does come off the back of a bit of a break. Great disposition here, looks happy, looks healthy. It's just dynamics. How are they going to suit him today? And furthermore, there's some veterans in here, some horses that have run fast and faster than he. So that does concern me. He's going to have to take another step up. Now, moving on to a horse that had a bit of a troubled trip in his last start. That's number 10, Society Man, who does pick up, who was it? I thought it was Raylu, but I could be wrong about that. Let's see here. Jamie Rodriguez is on Society Man. Forgot to write that down. But this one in his last start at Keeneland, obviously there were some issues at the gate with him. He was breaking from that far outside post, and he was caught very wide and had to tuck in and take back, and really that race dominated on the front end with the 1, 2, 3 finishers controlling from start to finish. I thought he looked fantastic here in the paddock, and now he's been back at Belmont kind of preparing for this with Danny's very capable assistant, Rolando. So I thought he was a little bit interesting at a price if he kind of gets the right setup with some pace to heat things up. We'll see if the mile suits him, because in the past, Lafitte, it does feel like he wants longer, but he did break his maiden in this very same situation here at the Big A.
Society Man, Maggie, last year's Wood Memorial runner-up, competed in the Kentucky Derby. Society Man, and it's been a while, easy to forget, but he had mixed it up, and at one point showed that he could really mix it up at one of the highest levels as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, listen, he gained a berth in the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby off of the strength of that second in the Wood Memorial. He has kept much better company, but his last few races, though, kind of scare me off a little bit.
Big price, 30-1. 3-5. JK, BU, before riders up, would you find is the key handicapping this race?
Yeah, I feel very similarly than I do in the last race with the winner, Mo 88. I think based off the last race, it feels like BU is the most likely winner. You do have to handle that question about how's the pace going to play out. But you just saw Flavien Prat, the rider of BU, as well as the rider of Mo 88, make the right decisions last time and do everything perfectly with that horse. And I'm thinking that's something that could happen here with BU as well. It feels like, looking at this race, that there should be at least enough honest pace in here. Certified Lover Boy's kind of got one way of going. Yeah. V Cruiser feels like one that's going to be a little bit more forwardly placed. And then towards the outside with Magnolia Midnight, there's some speed. And when you have the speed kind of spread out throughout the field, to me, it feels more likely that it's going to heat up a little bit. So for those anti-chalk players, you could be looking at 3 favorites in a row here.
Very chalky the last hour or so here at Aqueduct BU, 3-5. On the far outside would be another long shot in Magnolia Midnight, and talking about that pace. I don't know if he'll be there at the end, but figures to be involved early on, Magnolia Midnight.
He might be actually the most naturally fast horse in the race and comes out of sharper paced races. I agree that Certified Lover Boy's way to go is speed, but speed he has in longer races, although legitimate paces in those longer races. V Cruiser, he got to set a very moderate pace last time. I think Magnolia Midnight is the one they're all going to be chasing.
Something to watch right from the start. You touched on V Cruiser. We saw Linda Rice smiling in the paddock, lots to smile about in 2025, and setting a record and surpassing her own record set for most wins by a trainer in a single season on the NYRA circuit. Can you lend perspective, Richie? There she is, Linda Rice, just how significant that is.
Well, you think about all of the great horsemen and women that have trained horses in New York over the years. For her to stand alone as the winningest in a single season here is epic. And we also don't race as much as we used to. We used to race 6 days a week, year-round. We would finish Saratoga on Monday and start at Belmont on Wednesday. Now you have these gaps between meets. You only race 3 days a week at one point, 4 days a week the other. So what she has done is truly an epic accomplishment.
A few days left to pad her stats. We'll see V Cruiser in the post-parade. There's Emirates Road. Big afternoon, Manny Franco, 3 wins thus far.
Yeah, 3 races back. Horse ran huge, but that race just kind of stood out as being an outlier compared to the other races.
High-profile connections. BU, the favorite.
Yeah, just is in very, very good form. Closing type, has to work out a trip, but he's got the right pilot.
Lightly raced, but undefeated. V Cruiser.
Yeah, and has some speed. One of the biggest weapons you can have in dirt racing.
Eliminate, third at the level in the mud last month.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't eliminate, but I would be a bit surprised if he was able to beat this group. This is a pretty strong group.
It is. And for Top Gun Rocket, trying this group again, 5th straight start at the level.
I think it benefits this horse turning back to the 1-turn mile, and his start, try 2 back was good.
Certified Lover Boy, typically involved early, but cutting back in distance.
Yeah, but his style is to be up on the pace, and he's got the right rider. You got to handicap riders, too. Ruben Silveira, aggressive consistently.
Yep. Aforementioned Society Man, there he is.
If the pace sets up for Society Man, it also sets up for BU, and BU just happens to be better.
Ignite, the light number 11, very even in his last few races.
Yeah, I think one pace would be the way to word that. I do think he'll appreciate getting back to a fast track. Had a really good mare by the light.
Eric Cancel aboard, then number 12, Shadow Dragon, claimed from Belmont by Tom Morley.
Yeah, horses like this, sometimes it's just a change of scenery can help them improve a little bit. We'll see if that will happen switching to Tom Morley's barn.
Representing outside speed, Magnolia Midnight.
I just think this horse has the most natural speed. I don't like this horse as a win candidate. Big say in how this race is going to run.
Donegal surges to the outside for Todd Pletcher, second facing similar last month.
Yeah, I mean, this horse can certainly win, but it feels like the same situation where, you know, if the pace sets up for Donegal Surges, it also sets up for BU. BU just happened to draw a little bit better as well. It feels like Donegal Surges is destined to be at least a little bit wide.
Mike Rapoli's BU, 3-5 as the warm-up continues. We revisit his most recent right here, November 22nd. Same level, JK, but the good news today doesn't have to deal with the likes of Knights Bridge this time.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps a little bit. And you know, it's BU's one of those horses. He's always shown some talent. Right? I mean, he's run well and at a lot of different distances. And he just kind of went sideways when he got around the big boys and races like the Bluegrass and the Woody Stevens. I think that now they've kind of figured out who he is. The last 2 races going 7 furlongs, maybe he's just going to be kind of that 1-turn late runner. A lot of times the mistake can be made, and we see it very often coming around the Belmont when it's at 1.5 miles. People think that, oh, more ground means the closer's going to have more time to get there. Mm-hmm. But Elite Power proved to me that sometimes those late running types going shorter, they're more intense with their closing kick.
Fully agree. And this horse is proven to be very good at a little bit shorter. I agree, probably the best horse. I got a little bit of a different idea, guys. Mm-hmm. I like the 2 Emirates Road. Third off the layoff. He's a 6-year-old. And he basically ran the same race in back-to-back races. So I think he can get back to his best race, which would be good enough to be competitive here. And he's a 6-year-old, soon to be 7. I don't know about you, but as I got older, it took a little more to get fit.
Especially on a day like this, as they warm up and we reach post time, we check in with Maggie.
I was going to say, they have not gotten that much time to warm up here at Lafitte. A lot of horses just saying, I don't need the pony, just let me go. And riders making their way over to the starting gate. That was the case, of course, for your favorite, number 3, BU, who, honestly, I think now third off the layoff, and comparing him to his last start, I thought he put on some weight and conditioning, which I always love to see. And while he has proven in his form that this 1-turn kind of configuration configuration, you know, probably maxing out at this mile is probably best for him. He's always looked like longer is better. So that's why I actually, you know, prefer the mile as opposed to the 7/8. And when he won 2 back, he got a supersonic pace to close into there at Keeneland. And last time, I just think beaten by a better horse. So I think he is much the horse to beat. I love what I'm seeing from him today. Although this is a full field, and sometimes, Lafitte, chaos can reign supreme.
It's never know. It's been the chalk has been very, very trustworthy the last couple of races. We'll see if that trend does continue here with BU as an odds-on favorite. There goes Emirates Road, your top selection with Manny Franco. About to step into the gate at 8-1.
I'm just hope that he gets, you know, first run on a horse like BU. At some point, I hope he gets separation. And I do think he's a little bit more tactical than BU. You don't want to try to outclose a closer. Don't play to the other horse's strength. Make him play to your strengths.
I'm going to keep my eyes on the 4, V Cruiser, to see if V Cruiser can get loose. I think the 3 is going to be able to run that one down, but you know, like I said, speed, loose, dirt, that's a recipe to wire a field.
It's your race. 10th of 11 on this Saturday at Aqueduct. Odds on BU trying to become the 3rd straight odds on favorite to deliver on the program at the Big A. Chris Griffin with the call. Race 10 live from Aqueduct.
Top Gun Rocket. Here's Ignite the Light. Shadow Dragon. Magnolia Midnight. Donegal Surges. Last to load. Donegal Surges. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Emirates Road shows early speed, and here comes V Cruiser towards the inside too. Certified Lover Boy in the early mix, and Ignite the Light out wider with Magnolia Midnight. They line up on the front end, and the leader, Magnolia Midnight, now puts a nose in front. Challenged all the time by Ignite the Light, who will take back now in second as this leader tries to cross over. It's going to be Magnolia Midnight to hook up the backstretch. Ignite the Light still right there. Certified Lover Boy, tight hold here in 3rd. Just behind them comes Shadow Dragon, who's a close-up 4th. Then behind them is Society Man, and Donegal Surges makes a move with Eliminate on the far outside in 7th. Back there in 8th is V Cruiser, and 9th is going to be Top Gun Rocket, and towards the back end you've got BU and Emirates Road. They work up the backstretch, a 3-way battle for the front. The rail is open for Certified Lover Boy, who makes a quick move. Ignite the Lights in between horses. 3 wide, there comes Magnolia Midnight. Just outside of them, Shadow Dragon on the move, 46 and 4, was at half-mile time. Society Man is down towards the inside, is now making a move here on the rail. Donegal Surges, quick look over his right shoulder. Kendrick Harmouche is tipped to the outside. Following them, BU is now weaving through rivals and moves out wider, going to be about 5-6 wide. Nowhere to go there, Top Gun Rocket. They reach the top of the stretch. Ignite the Light is trying to put away a stubborn Certified Lover Boy. Donegal Surges now in the clear, is in full pursuit. BU following that move in the center of the racetrack. At the rail, there comes Top Gun Rocket. Donegal Surges is now sprinted to the front. Will have to hold off the charge of BU. BU with every single stride is trying to catch this leader. Donegal Surges is all hard towards the inside. Just having to steady there was BU. Give it to Donegal Surges. BU 2nd, then Emirates Road, and Ignite the Light. Did 1 minute 37 seconds flat.
Todd Pletcher trainees running 1-2, Donegal Surges and BU, but you did see the odds-on favorite, Richie. BU have to take up in deep stretch.
Yeah, Donegal Surges hits the front, and BU is making a pretty stout run at him. Had momentum. Kendrick Harmouche on the 14th. Donegal Surges is going to come out, I thought, fairly abruptly right in here. He's go to a left-handed crop. And right there, you can see his shoulder point out, and he came out right in towards him. Now, without the benefit of the head-on, which we'll get in a moment, it certainly looked like there was a significant movement from the 14 Donegal Surges.
You ask, you get.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the horse. The white bridle with the green cap, yellow blocks, and BU with the orange cap coming on the outside. Now, you see Kendrick Harmouche go to a left hand. He took a little step out there. Still clear, no problem. You saw Flavian straighten up. Now they're out in the middle of the track, and right there, to me, that is an absolute no-brainer. It thwarted BU's momentum. I would be very surprised if there's not a change in the order of finish here.
Didn't take long. Inquiry 14-3 to 11. Jonathan, for now.
Yeah, for those at home that may have landed on horse racing here with us, the rules are basically, I'm paraphrasing, that did the foul affect the final order of finish? And to me, you have to play a little bit of pretend because you don't ever know what would have happened. But if you watch a lot of racing, to me, the 3 had the momentum. The 3 would have gone by without, but you don't know for sure.
Well, but if he doesn't take up, right, he clips that horse's heels and potentially could stumble or fall. So Flavion's got to turn his horse sideways so severely that he actually jumps back to his left lead. That tells me it throws all of his momentum off, all of his balance and rhythm off. And the rules of racing, you are allowed to take any path on the racetrack as long as you're clear. He was clear until this point. He's not clear anymore. And right there, that's where the foul, to me, occurred. And you could see the separation from the inside rail to where they wound up.
Another look. Donegal colors, green and yellow. Outside, Rapoli colors, BU. Flavien Prat closing. The leader, Donegal Surge, desperately trying to hold on. What is Kendrick Carmouche trying to accomplish, Richie, and what mistake, in your opinion, was made?
Well, I think he's trying to come out to intimidate his rival. And listen, race riding is an art. You want to do things subtly to kind of thwart your rival's momentum. This went over the line. It wasn't subtle. That last move was, to me, too big a step out and really, slowed down his momentum. Now, what Kendrick's thinking is, if I can get my horse to engage this horse or maybe slow that horse's momentum down slightly within the boundaries of the rules, I can hold him off. Now, some people are going to say, well, then he was drawing off again late. Yeah, because it's like getting body checked. You've already gotten stymied. You're a 1,000-pound animal, a thoroughbred racehorse. They're not going to re-accelerate again after having to stop that momentum.
Flavien Prat on the runner-up, BU. And for viewers watching, don't follow necessarily on a day-to-day basis the process of which the jockeys go through now in communication with the stewards, the racing officials.
Yeah, so the way it works is the inquiry, they will each have a turn to plead their case. Go into that booth alone, just them on the phone with the stewards, and explain the way they thought it happened. Now, personally, I think this is an outdated way of doing things. Human nature. If I'm the one that won the race and my number's blinking, I am going to come up with Mary Had a Little Lamb, every kind of story I can come up with to protect my position. If I'm the runner-up, I'm going to tell how he completely stymied my momentum and he ruined my chance to win the race. It'd be akin to a referee throws a pass interference flag in football. Is he not going to ask the defender, hey, did you wait till he touched the ball before you hit him? And he's not going to ask the receiver, hey, did he hit you before the ball got there? We're going to lie. I'm sorry. It's human nature. You're going to try to present your case.
For Flavien Prat, yeah, not a lot of time on the phone. It's like, watch the replay, I rest my case.
Well, listen, if you're Flavien, you go in there very confident and say, Judge, you saw what happened. He came out 20 pats and took my ground. And walk out like you're getting ready to get your picture taken.
Yeah, if I didn't check, I would have went down.
Right.
Which isn't an exaggeration.
No.
If he doesn't snatch, if he doesn't grab him, they could clip heels.
Well, and he's right in that zone, right? If it was a few strides earlier, Kendrick's able to get away with it. That right where he was at, he was right on his hip. That's when you're in the danger zone.
Another layer to the story, the owners, Mike Rapoli's BU. Donegal Surges, Donegal Racing, they were celebrating in a winner's circle not long ago for Belmont Stakes with Mo Donegal. And trainer Todd Pletcher trains both of them. Another look at the head-on here for Kendrick Carmouche riding for Todd Pletcher. It's the Pletcher trainee there, BU, who was bothered. How does that complicate matters for the rider?
Well,
Moving
it really
forward beyond this race.
Well, I mean, it really shouldn't, although human nature, I'm sure it does. People say, well, that guy claimed foul, my horse got disqualified, and then they'll hold a grudge. Really, you got to look at the rider that rode your horse and the mistakes that I believe were made in this particular instance.
Todd's like, I didn't get service on my phone. What you were calling me?
Downstairs to Maggie.
It's crazy that this is We just hear that there has been a disqualification of Donegal Surges and placed behind BU, who will be your official winner. So 3:14 has been reversed, and this is the second time this exact same scenario has played out for trainer Todd Pletcher in Saratoga. We had the 2-year-old race where he ran 1-2. They reversed the order of finish, rightfully so, and I believe it was Mike Rapoli that got put up that day too. Levine?
Yeah, but that was some drama this summer at Saratoga. And for Flavian Pratt, that's a 3rd win on the afternoon. BU, the official winner of this 10th race at Aqueduct. We'll clean it all up, but we have to get back out to Oaklawn Park and Hot Springs. We have reached post time for these 6 races. Megan, these 2-year-olds making their way behind the starting gate.
Well, quickly here as mentioned, as these horses are fast approaching the starting gate, the number 6, McFasty, will be one that will take some beating from the Kenny McPeak barn, as he does have kind of that buyer speed figure edge on here. But the number 7, Miskel for the Mark Cassey barn, was who I landed on in this group, and one that I found was a bit wide last time out. He was kind of rushing up for speed with others in that affair, and he's one that I thought, you know, he was chasing, he had to alter being in front of a horse that was kind of drifting in front of him, and it was a solid run in my books. And while it was just he's dropping in for this $50,000 tag yet again here, and he's a Tapit Colt. I expected more distance, but looking at him physically, I think he's perfectly fine here sprinting. The Damn Kiki Gorgeous was a black type winner sprinting. She actually ran in the Grade 1 Ballerina, and his half siblings are more sprint type milers, and I agree with that. He's physically, despite his sire, looks like he'll belong just fine here at the 6 furlongs. And while I know I mentioned the number 6, McFasty, will take some beating, I figured it would be worth it at that 6-1 up there for the number 7, Miskel.
Miskel, that's 6-1, Megan. To the inside, as you mentioned, McFasty, number 6, 6-5. Matt Dinneman with the call. These 2-year-olds sprinting 3/4 of a mile, $50,000 maiden claimers, live from Oaklawn.
Fitzgerald walking up. Here's best known secret about to load in. Turin, post 5. McFasty in the Calumet Farm colors. 2 back, Little Crush, and Maxis. Here's Maxis coming up. We're ready to go. Straightening out number 6, McFasty in the gate. That's the favorite currently, McFasty, at even money right now. They backed him out. They're going to reload him. McFasty. We're ready. And we're off. McFasty a little bit slow to go. Miskel had no problems out of the gate. He's on top in the early stages. Miskel's got company, though. Brosnan on the outside right there matching him. These two together with Prime Suspect right behind in the 3rd. Turn to the outside, and McFasty, after the slow getaway, has made up ground. He's 3 wide, 3 off the pace with Little Crush to the outside. A gap of 4 lengths back to Maxis. Fitzgerald, his stablemate, has lost a little position on the rail as they go towards the 4-turn run. Devilish Do-Gooder between horses going into the turn. Fitzgerald had to steady while weakening. Highly connected alongside of him. And Devilish Do-Gooder's the trailer as they round the 4-turn. Miskel, Brosnan side by side. McFasty nickeled along 3 deep. Little Crush is farther out 4 wide. Prime Suspect looking for a spot to go at 14-1. He's trying to get outside in the 3 path right behind the leaders as they come off the turn here. Miskel weakens. Brosnan still in front. Brosnan puts 2 lengths on McFasty. Little Crush on the outside grinding away. Getting to Brosnan now. Little Crush on the outside, Brosnan, McFasty in the middle, and Highly Connected is surging on the outside. It's a driving finish. Here comes Highly Connected up the rail. It's Prime Suspect, but Highly Connected's going to get them all. Highly Connected won it. Prime Suspect 2nd, McFasty 3rd, Brosnan was 4th.
A wild finish, 5 of them across the track. Highly Connected finds his best late and strikes at 6-1.
It's a complete makeover for Highly Connected, dropping in for a maiden, claiming tag for the first time, blinkers off, first time gelding, and he makes the last run and storms down the middle of the racetrack to get up.
Yeah, look, I mean, the 6 broke a little bit tricky, you know, who was the favorite in there. Kind of got shuffled back, had to be aggressively ridden. And it looked like for a second here he was going to end up winning the battle here, but he wasn't going to be able to hold off the 2 who just kept on coming. And like you had mentioned, the 2 making some changes. Like you mentioned, blinkers off, new friends, goes a long way.
Look at all the ground he made up late.
He made up a lot of ground, and something that we've seen, it's a little bit of a departure from what I was able to see last year. Horses are really coming from well out of it at times here at Oaklawn. I think it's a very fair racetrack, but last year I put more of a premium on position and being forward. This year it just seems like horses can win from anywhere.
Fair track. Love to see it. Love to see the crowds at Oaklawn Park on this 72-degree afternoon in Hot Springs. And this cavalry charge to the wire. Ramon Vasquez timing it just right. Highly Connected. Breaks through, graduates in his 3rd career start. Results when we come back. Exciting, busy Saturday of racing here on Fox Sports 1. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Gainesway, Power, Passion, Performance. It's a hell of a plug. I heard from 30,000 feet yesterday. Jake Hale's flying in, listening to your Gainesway plug. Got your Cart Talk in there. Very well done.
Hey, it's the best part of the show, I got to be honest with you.
I won't argue. Won't argue. Well done. How about BU and the Pletcher trainees running 1-2 and the disqualification that we saw moments ago?
Yeah, and I just think it's the rightful call. And, you know, BU was coming with a full head of steam. Looked like he was going to get till Donegal Surge, and this move right there just cost him precious momentum. You know, and listen, riders, you know, are race riding and coming out. Sometimes you go over the line, but if you're a good rider, there are times you're going to go over the line.
And for Flavien Prat, why more significant than just winning this race in terms of earnings as we wind down 2025?
Well, he and Irad Ortiz, Flavien Prat and Irad Ortiz are both fighting for the money title. Leading money-winning rider in the nation goes a long way for your Eclipse Award resume. They started today less than $400,000 apart. And now it's going to go down to the wire. It's going to go all the way. And now Irad also leads the country in wins. You are the leading rider, wins and money, you're definitely getting the Eclipse Award. So for Flavien, to me, to have a chance to go back-to-back, he needs to beat Irad in money.
Star jockeys doing star jockey things. And for Ramon Vasquez, JK, out at Oaklawn with Highly Connected. 14-1, Highly Connected, running them all down late in the center of the track.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with all these closers winning on these dirt races we've watched on the show today. I promise you that speed is typically best. It just so happens that these horses have been finishing better than the others.
Vasquez had 4 wins opening day, including the victory in the Advent. Strikes in the 6th race, Oaklawn Park. We have one left, Winter Wonderland live look in the Aqueduct Paddock, the 11th and final, next on America's Day at the Races.
Prince of Monaco's too good for Moose, an impressive winner of the best pal. Miramondi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco too good.
Prince of Monaco, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This holiday season, give the gift of racing with Naira Bets gift cards. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your own account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NairaBets.com.
Say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one, this time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high, breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Aqueduct is the only racetrack within the confines of the 5 boroughs of New York City and faced intense competition from several other tracks located in the vicinity. True to its nature, the racetrack not only survived, but thrived. Aqueduct underwent an extensive 3-year overhaul and reopened on September 15, 1959, to much fanfare, as it was one of the most modern facilities of its kind. In 1960, Aqueduct presented its first Wood Memorial. The race is New York's premier prep race for the Triple Crown and remains one of the track's signature events, along with the Cigar Mile Handicap and Remsen Stakes. Aqueduct was the first and only track to have a triple dead heat win in a stakes race when Brownie, Bousset, and Wait a Bit hit the wire in tandem. In 1965, it was the site of the largest crowd ever to witness a thoroughbred race at that time in the Empire State, when more than 73,000 packed the stands to see Gunbow in the Metropolitan Mile. The legendary Cigar began his famous 16-race win streak at Aqueduct. He scored impressively in the 1994 Naira Mile as part of that win streak. The race was named in Cigar's honor after he retired in 1997. The last racetrack Secretariat placed his hooves upon was Aqueduct. He was retired there before commencing his stud career at Claiborne Farm. Aqueduct was the second track to host the Breeders' Cup in 1985 and was one of the first sporting venues where Pope John Paul II held Mass in 1995.
In New York City's racetrack indeed. Aqueduct, the history, the tradition, significant role it has played throughout the history of thoroughbred racing. Final day of racing, June 28th, 2026. Richie, I imagine for you that's going to be a challenging one.
Mixed emotions. You know, I mean, I love Aqueduct's. First place I ever came to the races. First win in New York came at Aqueduct. My first wins came at Meadowlands in New Jersey, but Aqueduct was the site of my first New York win. I grew up 8 miles from here. You know, this place was a part of the fabric of my life since I was 10 years old, coming out here on the train with my father, looking at all the Wood Memorial win pictures. But no one will ever pass me as the all-time leading rider here because they won't have enough time to catch me. So I'll take it.
Hey, he had something to do with this. I know you did.
Aqueduct's all-time leading rider, the end of an era indeed. June 28th, 2026. So we embrace and enjoy the final days of racing that we have here at Aqueduct. Even on a day like this, Maggie, as cold as it is, we have one left, the 11th race. What can you tell us? What are you seeing in the paddock?
Well, Lafitte, this is what makes Aqueduct Aqueduct. It is winter racing. It is at New York City's racetrack. If you're not willing to be a little cold here, then why are you at Aqueduct? It's a wonderful place to be. And we are going to miss it dearly as we will continue to celebrate all the great memories that we have here at the Big A as we'll close things out with this non-2 for 17.5. And I think the biggest question you have to answer as you handicap this race is, are you willing to trust number 9, Last Man Standing? Because I thought his last race was fairly inexcusable. Now, it was a day where horses benefited from saving ground, and he was on the wide hunt throughout, but he kind of chucked it in through the lane there, had every chance to go by or at least preserve a better finish than fourth, and what he did. Now, he looks fantastic here yet again. It's kind of the same song and dance that I've seen from him in the past. We'll see. It does feel as though it's a very fair racetrack today if he can make good on the heavy backing that he continues to receive. Moving on to a horse that comes out of that same race, and number 2, Prince of Dance. I think this horse arguably ran the best race of any, where he attended the pace while 2 to 3 wide with the Boondocker, put that horse away, and Union Express, who won, was able to come up the good rail. And 2, I like this horse getting to the 7/8. Kind of talk about the Goldilocks effect, where the 6 furlongs a touch short for him, Miles stretching him a bit. So the 7 furlongs, I think, suits this horse perfectly. As you look at him physically here in the paddock, he is a bit smaller, shorter coupled, handier overall, and really makes an excellent impression here in the paddock for Chris Engelhart. I think he's the one that I will land on. As we'll check in with the horse who's coming in off of a layoff in number 4, Whitby, for Mark Hennig. Now, he is a horse that detests kickback. So I think it's Kendrick Carmouche's job to make sure that this horse gets out of the gate cleanly and keeps a clean face. As he comes back here, he does look fit. He looks strong. I wish, though, considering that propensity to not want to run through the kickback, I wish he was a little bit sharper here. If I had to kind of split hairs with him, not that he'll be a short price per se, but he does come out of a race too that while it was at the same level, we saw several horses to come back out of there. 3 next time out winners, including the 3rd place finisher who posted a 74, as well as I believe the 6th place finisher who posted a 77. So it feels like that was a stronger version of this race than what he meets today. We'll see how he does coming back off the bench for Mark Hennig. Lafitte?
Riders up in a moment. Post-parade, great stuff, Maggie. 11th and final here at Aqueduct. Meantime, in Phoenix, Arizona, Turf Paradise live look. It's a new era, new leadership, a sense of real optimism out at Turf Paradise. In this 3rd race on tap, you're looking at Maestro Italiano 9-2, then a Little Yellow Jacket, also 9-2 with Frank Alvarado aboard.
Yeah, horses drifted up a little bit from the morning line. The Connections winning 14% with first-time starters.
First time starter live on the board, number 3, 40-20, the favorite, 8-5.
Now that mare, Indian Blessing, a multiple Grade 1 winning mare for Bob Baffert, and she's produced.
Get a look at him in a moment. There's 40-20. That's the 4, actually. A Nitro Boost, 7-1.
Yeah, Nitro Boost adds the blinkers. Last 2 starts, actually all 3 starts, has taken money and hasn't run particularly well.
Pie Time, 5-race maiden.
Yeah, has tried Arizona-bred stakes, but getting back with maidens. But this is open company. Looks like a salty group.
Another debuting colt. That's Independence Rise.
Yeah, has some siblings that had a little bit of early speed. Hopefully this one can have that same precocity.
Great name. Oswald, first-time starter by Halliday, 7-2.
With a nice work tab, really sharp half-mile work coming into this, and could be interesting at a first time out.
There's a look at him. These 2-year-olds about to sprint 5.5 furlongs, race 3, Turf Paradise. Eventually in 2026, you'll be able to wager through Naira Bets on Turf Paradise in Arizona. And yeah, JK, just a real sense of optimism given some of the recent changes in leadership and management out at Turf Paradise.
Yeah, I mean, I could say from a personal experience, Tom Lute, I know, is involved in the management there. I know some of the things he did at Santa Anita that were very, very horse player friendly, very horseman friendly. He understands the game from a lot of different angles, and I think he'll do a great job at Turf Paradise. So if you're a fan of that establishment, it's a home track for you, a place that you used to like to go, I can almost guarantee it's going to get a little bit better.
Tom Lute, former president, Vinery Stable, Regally Ready, one that comes to mind, winner of the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, I believe, 2011 out at Churchill Downs. So a lot of excitement about the future and changes and what's to come out at Turf Paradise, where it's nice and warm. Not necessarily the case here at Aqueduct. Riders up for the 11th and final. The nightcap for this Saturday program, final weekend of 2025 in this 7/8 of a mile sprint, $17,500 claimers, all for sale, all won for something. Non-winners to lifetime. They're sitting chilly at 21-1.
Trained by Mike Maselli, who's a tremendous race rider, won the Travers on holding pattern years ago. Sitting chilly. That's what Raylu Gutierrez will be first in the gate. He'll be sitting there chilly.
Prince of Dance, Manny Franco. He's blazing this afternoon, looking for a 4th win.
Yeah, he broke through the gate last time, and you know the old saying, if you break through the gate, it makes it harder. You'd like to think he'll run better here today.
Diabolico, 6th race at the level. Then Whitby, Kendrick Carmouche DQ'd after crossing the wire in front in the 10th race.
This horse has a couple of really fast races compared to the rest of this group. It's just the consistency of getting it out of them.
Detail-oriented, number 5, 8-1, blinkers on.
Yeah, first time gelding, blinkers on, drop in class, getting the complete makeover.
The kitchen sink. Then number 6, Nance, and Jose Lascano jumps in the cockpit.
I'd like to see the race 2 back more than the previous race if you want to get Nance into the winner's circle.
Messi the Magician, 1 for 21 lifetime.
Yeah, would need a Messi type effort, I think, to be competitive here.
Pictured. Can't You Stop the King is out, a scratch, followed by the favorite Last Man Standing, 9-5. Flavien Prat, 2 wins so far.
Well, you get Flavien Prat, who's been riding tremendous, Linda Rice, and a horse that has been consistent, should run his race again.
Taparino, number 10, off the bench, idle since late March.
Taparino
is out. It's a cat at 14-1.
Yeah, it would be a surprise. Just haven't seen a race I think would be fast enough to be competitive here.
Then the Boondocker on the far outside, 5-1, Contender, Jose Gomez.
This is where I'm going to land. I think drawn well in here with a group of horses that it seems might be allergic to winning. He's tactical. He's in a position where he'll be able to see what everyone else wants to do from out there. He can try to avoid getting stopped, a.k.a. discouraged for horses at this level. I like where the 12 is. I think the 9, while the 9 can win, I think is a bad gamble here at 8-5.
At least you can't fault Boondocker for what he has not done. In these types of races where you have the restriction, non-winners to lifetime, every horse in the race is 1 for something, and you come across the 1 for 15s, the 1 for 20s, the 1 for 20. Like he's only 1 for 6. You can't hold against him what you can with several of the others in the race.
Well, I guess he's just less exposed, right? You know, and I do agree with Jonathan about the draw. He's just really well drawn. You know, the 1-turn miles at Aqueduct, outside post positions, well, 7 furlongs, excuse me, but out of the chute at Aqueduct. It just gives you a chance to get into the race the right way. You're not under pressure. You're getting a good rhythm. you can't just sit out there and not make a decision and be caught, extremely wide into the far turn. But you have over about 3 furlongs to figure it out.
I've always felt like, and Richie, I'm curious your opinion, the difference between, a claimer and a higher level allowance type, I don't think it's that drastic. I think that the allowance types have a little bit more stamina. They can run, as fast, longer. They have a little bit more heart at times. They're a little bit more consistent. So I think that when you can find ways to make it just a little bit easier for horses at this level, you're increasing the chances that you're going to get that good performance out of them.
It's not snowing now. It snowed overnight and this morning. Very chilly here at Aqueduct. Do you have a favorite memory? Something come to mind, like on a day like this, really, really cold, or maybe when it was snowing? Is there a favorite memory of yours over all those winters you spent riding here?
I actually used to like to ride the snow as long as you didn't have so much snow accumulated on the track that it would ball up in the horse's feet, because then it gets dangerous. They slip. But one day I had 9 mounts. It was really snowing. 5 of my mounts scratched. I was an apprentice. I said, I got 4 mounts. This is good. It's, tough conditions. Well, a bunch of riders took off. My boss's son, Steve DeMauro Jr., who is now the steward at Gulfstream, came over, went in the racing office and said, oh, my boy will ride yours. I want him riding all night. He picked up mounts for me. So I did win 3 that day, so I can't complain.
On a day just like this, and something else on days like this that you often get is the wind in the headwind, which really can play an impact. Not so much of a factor today.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a factor really at all. Slight headwind down the backstretch, but there's days you can get a wind coming off of Jamaica Bay. It'll turn your head around. In the gate, it's rattling from the wind. You know it's windy there.
That one Breeders' Cup here back in '85, not that cold, but it was windy.
Yeah, blustery.
Windy.
We'll call it blustery.
40 years. Breeders' Cup 2. Back in '85, the lone Breeders' Cup at Aqueduct. 11th and final. One final time. Up to Chris Griffin for the call. 11th race live from the Big A on FS1.
The Boondocker. Last to load. The Boondocker. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Good start for Messi, the Magician. Also, the Boondocker is asked for speed on the far outside with Zakat in the early mix. And also detail-oriented. No easy leads as they shoved coming right out of the gate. And Zakat is the leader. Has a neck in front of detail-oriented who wants to be up with the early action. They're now 2.5 lengths in front of the Boondocker, who's back to third. Moving forward, at the rail comes Diabolico. Up on the far outside, here comes the run from Nance. Dropping back was Messi the Magician, just got past by Last Man Standing, who's on the move. And at the rail, there comes Prince of Dance as they swarm those early leaders. The 2 at the back, it's Whitby and Sittin' Chili. 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Complexion changes as to the inside here, it's Zakat, who's now dropping back with the Boondocker, a half length in front. Nance is 3 wide, and Last Man Standing is on the move. Here comes Last Man Standing, had some pace to chase, and 47 seconds flat for that half-mile time. The Boondocker still there. Nance in between horses, and Last Man Standing, Flavien Prat, grandstand side. These 3 at the top of the stretch. Nance continues to battle on. Last Man Standing's trying to run on by. Nance is back to second. Also trying to run on here is Prince of Dance. It is Last Man Standing inside this final furlong, trying to put these stubborn foes away. Last Man Standing has a 16th left to go. Still running on is Nance, also Prince of Dance, but give it to Last Man Standing in the finale. Nance was second, then came Prince of Dance and the Boondocker in 1 minute 26.10 seconds.
Linda Rice padding her own stats, adding to her record most wins by a trainer in a single season on the NYRA circuit, and Flavien Prat, 3 wins on the afternoon. Last Man Standing in the nightcap.
And again, just delivers that well-judged, well-timed ride that you come to expect. And, that's the thing I really love about the riding colony that we have, guys like Flavien Prat, Irad Ortiz. It does not matter if it's a $10,000 claimer or a grade 1. They are going to give you a ride.
Prat, another stellar afternoon at Aqueduct, and you're looking live. Turf Paradise, 2-year-olds about to sprint 5.5 furlongs, 40-20. The debuting colt by Candy Ride, number 3 at 9-5 at post time. Vic Stauffer, load and call, the 3rd from Turf Paradise live on FS1.
1,000 in his career. The last horse to load is Oswald. Oswald, acting on his own, goes into gate 7. They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Pie Time, Independence Rise, 40-20, and between horses, Independence Rise and Nitro Burst. Then up the backstretch, the trailer is Maestro Italiano and Oswald. 40-20 and stablemate Independence Rise. The two Diodoro trainees match strides into the far turn. And 40-20 and Orlando Mojica lead by just ahead. Independence Rise is second now by a 3-length margin to Nitro Boost. Pie Time is outside of him. Then it's 2 back to Oswald and Little Yellow Jacket. And Maestro Italiano is the trailer. And Independence Rise and 40-20 are matching strides. Independence Rise outside, 40-20 inside. They hit the top of the stretch and Independence Rise is a neck in front. 40-20 is trying to battle back through from the inside for Mojica, and he is doing precisely that. Independence Rise, 40-20. They come to the wire. Independence Rise, 40-20. Independence Rise in front. Independence Rise beat 40-20. Nitro Boost was third, and Oswald finished fourth.
Couple of 2-year-olds locking up in deep stretch. Independence Rise over 40-20. Orlando Mojica will have to wait a little bit longer for that 3,000th career victory. 2-year-olds at Turf Paradise, 2-year-olds at Oaklawn, Megan, and a very good 2-year-old event about to take place.
This is an absolutely fantastic group of 2-year-old fillies assembled, and while the scratch of what I thought would be a real runner in the 5, I've been spending some time in the Cassie barn over the last couple of weeks, and I've really been excited to see the debut of the number 7 French Friction, who's been the workmate of Grade 1 winner Lacara and has just traveled beautifully doing so. She's won by City of Light after a graded stakes place dam, and I just found her to be a standout amongst this group. As far as the number 3 is concerned, that Asmussen runner I think likely need to start, though Swift in the morning Lafitte, but ultimately I'm pretty eager to see the debut of the number 7 French Friction.
Asmussen looking for a 1,000th win at Oaklawn Park. My guns loaded, the $650,000 filly. Post time, 7th race, live from Oaklawn Park.
Your current favorite on the board at, let's see, 7-2, Joke Maker. We're ready to go. And we're off. Good beginning from Run On State's the long shot up on the pace. Forum Confidential moving up and claims the front running spot. Forum Confidential is quickest from Run On State, French Friction, and Black Magic River. Those 3 right behind the front runner down the back stretch here. My Gun's Loaded in the 5th position, gets inside of Take Charge Macy. Joke Maker sent along in the purple jacket, 3 deep with them, and a gap of 5. The Charted Destiny, who is at the back of the field. Into the far turn, Forum Confidential, narrow lead. French Friction right there, turning up the pressure. Black Magic River 3rd, sent along hard. My Gun's Loaded under some pressure, within 5 lengths of the lead. Then comes Joke Maker. She's come under a ride. She is making a move into 4th, coming to the top of the stretch. The others need to get going. Top of the stretch, Forum Confidential loses the lead to French Friction, who's cruising. She's going to be tough to beat, it appears. French Friction off the turn, putting a length and a half. Now 2 on Forum Confidential. Joke Maker continues to grind away, but French Friction has opened up and has given this field the slip. She is 5-6 ahead, coming to the line. A nice filly here by City of Light on debut. She will win by open lengths. French Friction gets it. Joke Maker second in a photo there, and I think she got it over Take Charge Macy, and then Black Magic River.
Yeah, remember her name. Really talented filly, very bright future. French Friction dazzles in her debut at Oaklawn Park.
This was a really nice debut. She was always looking like a winner, maybe broke a half a step slow, but within a matter of strides was in perfect position under Christian Torres in the bridle, and French friction, she got no resistance.
Yeah, you gotta love that, the way she won first time out. She's a City of Light. They're gonna obviously be able to go a little bit further. City of Light, the sire of Fierceness, who's going off the stud now. The pedigree, an AP Indy mare. There's a lot to like about this horse.
That memorable Oaklawn handicap, City of Light Accelerate, several years back. French friction, onward and upward. DJ Stable, John Green, Mark Cassie with a filly to be excited about, and much, much more. Results when we return. Much more from Oaklawn Park, and a recap of yesterday's featured event, the Pippen Standout Sensation. That's next. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 1. Terrific Saturday of thoroughbred racing. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races, as always, brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet anywhere, any track at nairabets.com. Take the kids ice skating when they were little, Rockefeller Center?
I don't think it took them at Rockefeller Center, but they went ice skating. I was just so bad at it that, like, I was afraid I'd hurt
jockey,
myself.
You're an athlete. This is not a real good idea, because you could miss the opportunity to ride a filly like that. French friction out at Oaklawn. What a debut to Megan.
Well, a hat trick on the day for jockey Christian Torres. You've had a tremendous day, but just talk me through the first impressions of being under a filly that's dominant, and she just cruised in that effort.
Yeah, she's a really nice filly. Katie has been talking to me about her the whole week. She's been working with La Cara, so they were expecting a big performance from her, and she did it.
And I know you've been working fillies in the morning, working horses for Cassie, but as you mentioned, what were some kind of insights about her as an individual that he kind of shared with you pre-race?
She was very straightforward, very, very straightforward. She never run before, but the way she was doing it in the morning, we felt like an old filly. So we were very confident out of there. We were hoping for a good break. She kind of missed a step a little bit, but got into a race real nice. You know, good horses do that, so she did all the rest.
And then as far as her being able to obviously continue to stretch out in distance, those Oaks preps ahead, do you find her to be one that has the propensity to do that?
She probably will. She probably will. She's pretty big. She's strong. So, you know, she stay healthy and keep working on her. I think she probably will go to turns.
Well, congratulations. Incredible day. The family is here, and what a win.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lafitte.
Lots to smile about. Christian Torres, Megan, French Friction. I'd reached out to John Green at GJ Stables and asking about the stable stars and when we might see them, and Sandman and Nitrogen and Ewing, etc. And this was the one he said, though, but look out for. It was French Friction and how highly she is thought of, and she runs accordingly on debut.
Yeah, she did not disappoint. And listen, they buy good horses. They consistently every year come up with a nice crop of young horses.
You heard Christian say working with Lacara. Lacara won two Grade 1s this year. And she's an older horse, a 3-year-old, and working with her, that screams a lot.
Look forward to see what she does next. French Friction. Here, last man standing in the nightcap. Pratt, Linda Rice, last man standing, is favored in 4 straight, has now won 2 of 3.
Yeah, again, one of the many things that Linda Rice does well is spotting the horses properly. She puts horses in a position to succeed, not give their best effort and fail. A horse can run only so many A races. If you use them up in races they can't win, you're not doing a horse justice. She puts them in spots where they can win, and you get another flawless ride from Fabian Pratt.
Rice, co-owner as well, last man standing. Nance completing the exacta. Prince of Dance in third, 9-6-2, 11 up and 11 down. Here at Aqueduct, right back at it tomorrow afternoon. Live coverage continuing on America's Day at the races. Plus more from Oaklawn Park, Turf Paradise on the Saturday, and the 2-year-olds. And Tom Amos yesterday ringing that bell and saddling the winner of the Pippen Stakes. Much more from Oaklawn as our coverage continues. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
We're down, I'm going to get down into the hills ground and get all through all done. $1,050,000. $1,050,000 and a half. $1 million, Blake. Thank you.
Juddmonte.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Quality at his core.
And Core Beliefs will come on and win it nicely.
By leading sire, Quality Road.
And here is Core Beliefs to take the lead. Core Beliefs on the outside. Here it is. Core Beliefs.
All the best attributes of his sire. A multiple graded stakes winner who's proven at the classic distance with tactical speed and a must-see physical.
It's Core Beliefs who digs his heels in to win the New Orleans Handicap.
Core Beliefs, standing at Walmack.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the races. Stroll or a drive through Hot Springs. Meg, you do move fast. I'm being told that's about as fast as you walk.
Well, I waste time.
You drive fast as well. Jockeys, by the way, just as far as driving is concerned, like the rules of the road don't necessarily apply to you guys.
Well, I don't like when somebody tries to take my spot. So if I'm on the rail going down the Bell Parkway and someone's trying to get over, I'm sorry, you're not getting in there. This is not happening.
Angel Cordero, I rode with him one time, and he drives like he was riding.
They all drive like they're in a race.
I scared Lafitte one day. I was dropping you at the airport, and we came out of here, and like the guy had a stop sign, and he went to run the stop sign, and I gunned it and the guy and Lafitte's like, no, he'll stop. Watch.
Always like they're in a race. Much more coming your way here with Aqueduct in the books, but Oaklawn, the racing continues. 2-year-olds, and the feature still ahead the years. And yesterday's featured event, the Pippen. And for trainer Tom Amos, our friend and colleague, JK, had standout sensation, ready to rock and roll.
No, he absolutely did. I mean, he's got this horse on a, 4-race win streak. For a second and a half, it looked like Queen Azteca was going to come to her, but she just was not going to let that one get by her. She was very impressive, and love seeing Tom with a good horse. And I'm sure he loves seeing a good horse with those silks, and the same silks that one of his best horses ever, Serengeti Empress, wore.
It's Dr. Joe Politi.
Yes, and she was very good. Took a stiff challenge from the runner-up, the filly that won the United Arab Emirates Oaks, and we saw her in the summer in races like the Alabama, so she was highly thought of. I think that was her best try stateside so far, but standout sensation, she was very good.
Congratulations to everyone involved. Standout sensation in yesterday's Pippen. That's part of the theme here, this holiday meet, this first part of the brand new meet at Oaklawn Park. It is a stakes race every day, and tomorrow the Oaklawn Anywhere. There's the field morning line odds, 3-year-old fillies. Moto, number 6, 8-5 morning line favorite Louis Saez with a look ahead to the Oaklawn Anywhere. Right back to Oaklawn. Megan standing by. Megan.
Well, as a standout sensation was just that, as mentioned, Tom Amos is looking for yet another stakes win on the weekend. He has a number 6 moto in tomorrow's Oaklawn Anywhere, as mentioned, and speed has been this filly's game, where she's been one that has just been very quick early, and one that has just really answered the call. She's a Texas bred. They only paid $90,000 for her, took advantage of that Texas bred status there at Sam Houston there earlier this year, and I've actually got a chance to see this filly in the flesh here at Oaklawn Park, here during morning training hours, where she's been moving beautifully. She's been fantastic, and one that I find, though, is coming into a group where there's some other speeds that she will have to deal with, particularly on her outside and directly to her outside there in the number 7 and the number 10. So we'll see how she fares, if maybe she can take some dirt and be able to perhaps rate, as I do find the number 10 could be a little quicker than her. We'll see how it all shakes out, but very interested to see how the number 6 moto continues to progress as she gets into stakes waters once again.
Gonna be a big weekend. Trainer Tom Amos. Tomorrow's Oaklawn Anywhere. See what Moto does. See how she fares. What about these 2-year-old fillies? Who winds up in the winner's circle of the years and stakes? Riders up. Post-parade in moments as you look at Counting Stars already seeking a second stakes win of the meet. That's next. We'll be right back. Live look, Turf Paradise in Phoenix. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races continues on FS1. Fillies and mares upcoming. Just a $4,500 maiden claimer. All for sale, all winless. Let's meet the field, starting with Aunt D, a 5-race maiden, a Colorado bred.
He's not shown a tremendous amount of ability yet, but my favorite aunt was my Aunt D.
That's reason enough. Naturally blonde, first of a few Calbreds.
Yeah, and certainly the last race would make her competitive here. Makes a lot of sense as your favorite.
Misty Malibu, 6-1 currently.
Yeah, I mean, has a couple of races that are just okay, and she is dropping a little bit.
Gormley Gal, number 5, 13-1, a 12-race maiden.
Man, flashing a lot of speed and stopping abruptly lately.
Araya's Ride, another Calbred, 4-1, the third choice.
Yeah,
second choice.
Yeah, had a race with some speed, but that's gone away since the last 2 starts.
Beautiful Breeze, 7-race maiden.
Does have races that would be competitive here. I would be somewhat surprised, but I guess you really couldn't be that surprised if anybody wins this race.
Beautiful Breeze. Then on the outside, Brashia's Art, just her second career start, 7-2 currently.
Yeah, I think that's key, though, Lafitte. It's her second start. Her first start, she broke slow, came running. So now she learned her lesson. She took money that day as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's going to make her second start. Hopefully she breaks a little bit better and still comes running. And you put those two together with that outside draw, I think she's the one who's going to get her picture taken.
The runners in the 4th, Turf Paradise. You'll see it live here on FS1 as we make our way back to Oaklawn Park in the Saturday feature. Year's End Stakes on this day, exclusively for 2-year-olds, potential stars. Maybe we just met a future star moments ago. French Friction for Mark Cassie and DJ Stable. These freshman fillies, a little bit more accomplished, and a 2-1 favorite towards the outside in Counting Stars. Post-parade shortly, but Counting Stars, most impressive in the stakes race opening weekend, the Astral Sprawl.
Yeah, that was a really nice effort, stretching out for the first time. And that's the question with a few of the runners in here. They've shown ability, like the 2 Copper Wind. Will that translate to a mile around 2 turns?
$150,000 purse. Counting Stars, 2-1. Tom Amis with the stakes win yesterday in the Pippen, as we just revisited. Saddles Paving, number 5. Currently 4-1. Copper Wind acting up. Let's meet the field for this year-end stakes. Kaboom, 42-1, the Indiana bred.
Yeah, she would just have to get faster, run a faster race than we've seen from her so far in her 4-race career.
Rafael Bejarano aboard. Kaboom. Then Copper Wind. Impressive on debut, but on her toes, acting up a little bit pre-race.
Yeah, she was very impressive. If you look at Time Form US, her pace figures early in that race were good as well. I trust Steve Asmussen when he decides to stretch a horse out so quickly after their first race.
Now nice and settled Copper Wind, followed by Scott's Lowe's 1-2 of 3.
And stretched out successfully last time, took a step forward. She is a half to the Grade 1 winning Scottish Lassie who won our Coaching Club American Oaks.
A blowout CCA Oaks winner. Fizzy Lass, long shot, graduated in the slop, then paving for Tom Amis.
2 for 2, like the way she did it last time, coming from off the pace, and Tom's off to a good start there.
Sticker shocked. Christian Torres looking for back-to-back wins in 4 on the afternoon.
Yeah, it comes from out of it, but did it well going the mile last time. Should have some pace to close into.
Newton's Pike debuted right here and won at Aqueduct.
Yeah, and was very green early on in that race. Settled and finished. Her dam actually did win up to a mile and a 16th, so they're hopeful she'll stretch out.
Counting Stars, she's 1-2 of 3.
Yeah, and she's by Honor AP, who got a little bit better as the distances got longer and as Honor AP got a little bit more mature, and as the clock starts to turn, the calendar starts to turn for Counting Stars, you like to think she'll improve as well.
Authentic Cat, second start, actually cutting back in trip.
Yeah, win going a mile and a 16th first time and be as professional slipping through on the rail. She was game.
Year's End Stakes next, Oaklawn, live Turf Paradise, post time for the 4th. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Naturally Blonde wins the break from Beautiful Breeze in second. Then Between Horses, Misty Malibu and Gormley Gal. Brasha's Art away next. Then comes Aunt D, and the trailer is Arya's Ride. Beautiful Breeze and Naturally Blonde up the backstretch. Beautiful Breeze half ahead. Naturally Blonde Blonde trying to get out a bit up the backside. Brasha's Art is right there in third. She's 3 deep and less than a length from the front. Misty Malibu has 4 lengths to make up. She's a length in front of Aunt D. Arya's Ride is 7 from the lead. And now Gormley Gal is the trailer, and the leader is Naturally Blonde, and she's getting away just a bit going to the quarter pole. Naturally Blonde, a half length in front of Beautiful Breeze in second. Brasha's Art is flattened out a bit. She's now 3 from the front. Misty Malibu is moving up at the rail in the yellow cap, and she could be the danger to the now lonely leader at the top of the stretch, and that's Naturally Blonde. Naturally Blonde to the final furlong, a 3-length lead. Beautiful Breeze is back into the bit, and here she comes after Naturally Blonde again. Naturally Blonde, Beautiful Breeze is going to run alongside, and she is going to run right on by. Beautiful Breeze in front. Beautiful Breeze beat Naturally Blonde by 2 1/4. Misty Malibu was third, and Arya's Ride finished fourth.
Beautiful Breeze surging late, coloring Natural Blonde, and breaks through in her 8th career try.
Making that last run, gets it done, was patient, and maybe just kind of found the right group, huh?
Recent starts hadn't been close. Jonathan hadn't been finishing. Wasn't able to deliver a knockout punch against this group. Able to do so.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when it comes to these situations, you have horses that have continuously lost, been habitual losers. They just got to get them with their friends.
Results forthcoming. Turf Paradise, Beautiful Breeze. Time for the Saturday feature. Oaklawn, Year's End Stakes. Megan with these 2-year-old fillies and Counting Stars seeking a second stakes win of the meet, the 2-to-1 favorite.
That's right. And as far as the 8 Counting Stars is concerned, just to start off the top, she's one that I don't think looks any worse for wear on the quick turnaround. But I'll start with the number 3, Scott's Law. As mentioned, that half to Grade 1 winner, Scottish Lassie there for the John Ortiz barn, and one that has just been acting a bad actor through the entirety of the preliminaries as far as her behavior is concerned. She's one that she passed the 2-turn test last out in that starter allowance group and has been working swiftly here in the mornings, but man, she was just edgy, nervous, pawing at the ground, giving her groom all that they could handle, and one that has settled a bit better as she's approached the track. Seemingly that type of filly that just doesn't like to be in that kind of crowded paddock, as Oaklawn obviously is more of that indoor crowded, tucked in space. So I do like her up there. I thought she was going to take more money off the morning line than she has so far, but she does make sense with speed in this group. But want to check in with the number 7, Newtown Pike. There we saw a very impressive 2-year-old there, Arkansas bred for the Lindsay Schultz barn earlier, and she's just been seeing the ball so well with her 2-year-olds. But this horse is one I think she's kind of lighter in her frame and condition. I think she'll really appreciate the stretch out and distance in this spot. And she's one that comes out of a formful race. We saw For the Ladies come back to a dominant performance in her next try, breaking the maiden. And I think she's a filly that was definitely trying to put everything together all in the span of her race last time out. And if she can improve off of that effort, I think that the 13-to-1, you're getting up there, now 15-to-1, could be a gift, especially for a razor-sharp barn. But the number 5, Paving, has just been ultra consistent, undefeated, no issues there, and she's one that I really appreciate when young horses take that dirt, sit behind horses, are able to kind of rate and provide that dimension so early on as she did when not only breaking her maiden over the summer, but being able to come back at Fairgrounds and back that up off the freshening with the win there. And honestly, one that gets back to a fast track. I thought we were going to be a bit shorter of a price on this horse, and she's kind of meandering there around 4-to-1. So I liked her in this spot. Tom Amius has obviously been incredibly sharp, and I think that another sharp filly once again in this group. But the number 2, Copper Wind there for the Asmussen barn, and I saw Steve in the flesh. He's wearing a nice shirt, potentially picture time. Who knows as far as that 1,000 Oaklawn wins here could be the type of could be the moment we've kind of been waiting for as far as the 2 Copper Win is concerned. And I agree with JK. I saw the exact same thing. If you really look at those early time form US speed figures, I think this horse is really going to appreciate some more ground. She's quick. She's sharp. She was sharp in the paddock. And I think that she is well meant in this spot of very competitive 2-year-old fillies, as many in here getting that mile distance for the first time here, Lafitte.
Copper Wind, Megan, would be that much more special. Steve Asmussen, Richie, to win his 1,000th career race at Oaklawn with his son in the saddle, Eric Asmussen, riding Copper Wind, but a tall order.
Well, with his son riding would be amazing, and also for the Winchell family, who have been closely associated with the Asmussen family for nearly 50 years. So, you have clients like that stand by you through the good times, the bad times, and share your successes. That's always a good thing. And what you have to like about Copper Wind is she's already shown that she has speed and ability. Her pedigree says that she should have stamina as well. So that's a pretty strong combination.
Yeah, there's all those exciting things you guys talked about the connections. But I'll also say this, one thing Steve will feel after it's over, I got a horse that has a chance in the first Friday in May, or the last Friday in April, I think maybe this year, to run in the Kentucky Oaks, a horse that passes that mile test, that has, like you mentioned, Richie, shown there's some talent with that speed there. So races like this can really still continue to get you excited for what's to come with those big 3-year-old spring races.
Counting Stars towards the outside, 2-1. What does Francisco Arrieta want to do with her to ensure that she doesn't lose any precious real estate establishing position going into the clubhouse turn?
Well, I think you always got to come out with forward on your mind and then try to find the break between flights to slide in and not be caught too wide. Saving ground, particularly in 2-turn races, to me, is paramount.
Saturday feature, 2-year-old fillies in the Year's End Stakes, live on FS1 from Oaklawn. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Here's Authentic Cat to the outside post. We're ready to go in the Year's End Stakes. And Leroff, Scott's Law stumbled at the break. Fizzy last to the lead with Copper Wind. Paving's not far off. Counting Stars on the far outside. Newtown Pike takes a hold off the speed as they go towards the first turn. Copper Wind narrow lead on Fizzy last as they go into the turn. Paving 3 wide, easing off the pace as well. Is going to tuck over right behind them. They're running third. Kaboom's right behind that runner, along with Scott's Law and Counting Stars. 2 back to Newtown Pike, passing Sticker Shock, who gets shuffled back to the second last spot, and Authentic Cat will try to do her best running later. Down the backstretch here in the Year's End Stakes, it's Fizzy Lass and Ricardo Santana Jr. on top of half length. Paving, keeping pace with her now, is close up, reclaiming second, and is pressing the front runner. Counting Stars in a good position, 3 deep right up with those leaders. Gap of 2. Copper Wind has lost position, niggled along a little bit. Scott's Law also under some pressure, and the long shot Kaboom is down on the rail, 3 lengths behind, sailing into the 4-turn run. Newtown Pike is scrubbed upon. Sticker Shock is dropped out of it. Authentic Cat, her stablemate, takes the second last spot, has to pass them all. There goes Counting Stars to the lead. Counting Stars, Fizzy Last gives way. Paving under a ride to stick with Counting Stars, rounding the turn. Scott's Law in second. Counting Stars opened up. Counting Stars just tried to give him a slip. Right now opens up 3 at the quarter pole. Scott's Law into second. Paving has had enough. Then Copper Wind, they're off the turn. It's all Counting Stars. Counting Stars by 6 coming down the lane, and a big effort here. She loved the route game, and she is now the first 2-time stakes winner at the Oaklawn meet. Counting Stars wheeling back in 13 days. Impressive in the Year's End. Newtown Pike second. Scott's Law third. Paving, Authentic Cat were next.
The Astral Spa opening weekend, and now the Year's End Stakes for Counting Stars. Much the best in the main event this Saturday afternoon at Oaklawn Park.
She was much the best, poised just to the outside of the leaders, always traveling into the bit. Francisco Arrieta, this is 2 races today where right before they get to the top of the stretch, he goes all in. He just says, all right, if I'm good enough, I'm giving everybody the slip right now. He's not waiting on competition. And I like when riders are decisive. Don't allow the tempo or the pace of a race to be dictated to you. You dictate the terms.
We talked about this before, Richie. I'm a believer in you can only have your riders one way. You either want them to be aggressive all the time, or you want them to be passive all the time. I think jumping back and forth isn't really fair. It's like circumstantial and results-oriented. I love that aggressive ride. We just said, look, I'm traveling well. Let's just go ahead and break this thing open and see what happens, and it worked out, and he was rewarded for it.
West Point Thoroughbreds own, trained by Mark Cassie. Productive last 40 minutes or so for Cassie with the 2-year-old fillies, unveiling French Friction. Sensational in her first career start, and this filly, Counting Stars, second stakes win of the meet, 3 of 4 overall. That's at Oaklawn. We're at Turf Paradise, where we just saw a beautiful breeze. Put it all together, facing the right company on this afternoon, and at 11-1, graduating her 8th start.
Well, as the saying goes, you want to keep your horses in the worst of company and yourself in the best of company. And I think Beautiful Breeze wound up in a very good spot for her.
Naturally Blonde, the favorite, denied. Beautiful Breeze, $24. Race 4, Turf Paradise, 7-3-4. At Turf Paradise, much more from Oaklawn Park. Just saw Counting Stars. Lindsay Schultz seeing a really strong effort from Newtown Pike to complete the exacta. A trainer on the ascend. Much more on Lindsay as our coverage continues on America's Day at the Races.
Anybody else want $650,000 bid today? $1,650,000. $1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
And it's lights out. Locked. Pouring it on. Running aggressively through the stretch to win by 7 easy lengths.
Here is Locked. Locked racing by on the outside for the lead. Locked, the wine steward, it is Locked.
Here comes Locked after Mulligan. Locked catching with every single stride, and Locked will win the Cigar Mile.
It's all about Locked, dominating the big cap, cruising home to an effortless 8-length romp.
Live look, Oaklawn Park. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races on FS1. Where Counting Stars just dominated the year's end stakes moments ago. Winner's Circle lead-in brought to you by the Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter McSale, scheduled for February 9th in Lexington. Enter now at FasigTipton.com. Good filly. Her debut, eye-opening. Laid an egg in a stakes race at Keeneland and was like, what happened? What went wrong? She was just flat. Rebounded in a big way in the Astral Spa. 2 weeks later, takes down and dominates this year's end stakes. Right back to Megan standing by at Oaklawn Park.
Well, it's quite a great feeling when the barn is just rolling, as I'm here with Caden Arthur, assistant to Mark Hasse. And this filly, short rest, wasn't an issue for her.
No, it wasn't. She did it great. I knew yesterday, we took her out to the track, and she was just a handful. So I knew we were going to get something great out of her today, and she showed it. And I think distance, she handled it pretty easy. So.
And she's one that just cruised. And as you mentioned, the stretch out and distance really seemed to be what she's been kind of wanting to do after she was a bit flat there, 2 back.
Yeah, she's a bigger filly. So we always kind of thought maybe she had it in her. But today she definitely proved it.
Well, one after another, you've got 2 talented fillies on your hand. I have to touch on French Friction, who we saw debut in incredible fashion. This horse has been working with Lacara. What have you really been able to see from her in developing as she's approached this debut?
Just progress. I mean, every week she just gets better and better, and you love to see that, especially as a young 2-year-old about to turn 3. So I think she's got a bright future. I mean, she showed it today, so hopefully she can keep going in that way.
Has Boss given you any indication on what's next for Counting Stars by chance?
No idea.
I'll have to check with Mark, but very congratulations, Caden. You've just been doing a terrific job with this string thus far.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Lafitte.
Megan, thanks so much. Pretty good day at the office for Caden and Mark. And company, West Point,
and this
John
is
Green, etc.
This is the best start to an Oaklawn Park meeting that Mark Casse has ever had. I mean, he's already his 6th win from about 12 starters. I mean,
that'll get it done.
It really hitting on all cylinders.
still look forward to seeing Sandman, I believe, in January. Ewing about to turn 3. Nitrogen, dual Grade 1 winner. Counting stars here, onward and upward. Turning the page, much more from Oaklawn and Turf Paradise, race number 5, a $4,000 claiming event here. Baron Song is out, 9 strong. Yeah, based on what we just saw at Oaklawn Park and the fact that having changed their schedule and that they have racing in December, we wouldn't have a chance to see 3-year-olds when Oaklawn would be starting in January. And now a chance to see some of the prospects that likely we'll see in those series leading up to the Arkansas Derby and eventually the Fantasy.
Yeah, to me, it just made an already comprehensive series of races for each division, with preps leading ultimately either for the 3-year-olds, the Kentucky Derby or the Kentucky Oaks. Just got deeper, right? The meet getting longer gives them this opportunity to build into the graded stakes portion of the prep races. That's one of the things that I really, really appreciate about Oaklawn, besides the enthusiasm of the fans there, which is constant, is that for every division, there's basically 4 races to decide who is best at that meet in that division.
Yeah, no, they do an outstanding job, and adding that extra time, like you said, kind of puts it all together. You get to see those 2-year-olds turn 3, and you'll have some opportunity to see some horses win 3, 4, 5 times throughout the meet, or throughout the full meet. Obviously, I have it broken up into the holiday meet and the classic meet. So, look, you can't go wrong with more racing, especially more stakes racing.
Fast start to the meet for trainer Mark Casse, and that's what this day is all about at Oaklawn, the future and all these 2-year-olds and race after race for these freshmen with the calendar about to turn. Mark Casse, well established. He's already a Hall of Famer in 2 different countries. For trainer Lindsay Schultz, she's just getting started, but off to a fast start in her career in this meet at Oaklawn Park. An impressive winner earlier today. She had the long shot that she just saddled to a 2nd place finish in the year's end moments ago. Lindsay Schultz, a trainer on the ascend.
I always wanted to train myself, especially since I've worked longer at the track and been an assistant, and I know how hard I work and how hard trainers work, and that never scared me off, and it was always something that I thrived on. And I always wanted to also own my own business. You know, both of those things made it something that was appealing to me and something that I wanted to do.
Lindsay Schultz's foundation to becoming a trainer runs deep. She grew up riding hunters and jumpers in Connecticut and got her first job mucking stalls before becoming a teen.
Honestly, I didn't really watch much racing until I went to college. It took me a little while to get into it, but once I did, I didn't stop.
She chose the University of Louisville not because it's located in the heart of racing, but to ride on its equestrian team, and most importantly for the school's equine studies at the College of Business.
So that was kind of one of the things that drew me to Louisville, because a lot of the other equine programs don't have a business program to back them up. I try to be logical, and it made sense to learn the business side of it.
After graduating from Louisville, Schultz learned the game globally through a 2-year internship in Darley's Flying Start Management Training Program. The past decade, she worked as a longtime assistant to Tom Proctor, managed Glen Hill Farm in Florida before going to work for Shug McGahee. Then in November of 2021, Schultz finally felt it was time to go out on her own.
It was really important to me to really understand every part of the business, especially since I didn't grow up in it. I don't have parents in it. I wasn't born on a horse.
Schultz's euphoric moment happened in just her 7th career start. The appropriately named Capture the Glory took charge in the stretch.
Capture the Glory is still strong, and this is going to give trainer Lindsay Schultz her first career victory. Capture the Glory indeed. Congratulations go to trainer Lindsay Schultz for her first training victory.
It's definitely horses that we can build on, and it's exciting to kind of get started and get the ball rolling.
Trainer Lindsay Schultz, we discuss young trainers with bright futures and young trainers that did have a lot of potential. It feels like we've kind of gotten beyond that point with Lindsay Schultz and just a really good trainer, and we're seeing the dividends in the early stages of this Oaklawn meet.
Yeah, absolutely. She does a terrific job. Her horses always look good. They're well turned out. But look at, the process she went through to get to the point to be a trainer, the Darley Flying Start program, getting that international experience and exposure, then being an assistant trainer, then going on to manage a farm, and then ultimately training. She has as well-rounded an education in the game as you basically can get.
Yeah, you can tell a lot about a young trainer, and I agree with you, transitioning away from that young tag by what owners give them horses. The owners that are winning, that have been around the game, it's a sign of confidence from knowledgeable folks. It's like, you know, when you see some undrafted, you know, rookie that ends up starting for a team that Bill Belichick coached, you know, they must have checked all the boxes.
Right.
The big win from She's So Cold earlier on the program, the runner-up moments ago in the year's end, and Schultz saddling the favorite, has the favorite, Legal Lightning, in the upcoming 9th race. Oaklawn Park, also live coverage continuing from Turf Paradise. Their 5th race coming up, I believe. There's the field, updated odds. Race number 5, $4,000 claimers, a mile. And a 9-5 favorite, Suckheel, drawn inside a 7-year-old, the veteran warhorse Richie, 45th lifetime start. There he is.
Yeah, so you get a good inside post, and you get Orlando Mojica looking for career win number 3,000.
Milestone watch here with Steve Asmussen looking for that 1,000th at Oaklawn, and Orlando Mojica seeking a 3,000th career victory. There's Mr. Insensitive, 3-time winner in 39 starts.
Yeah, lacks speed. Would like to see some pace up front of him.
And his Ironman.
I like this horse's last race. It ran well enough at a big price.
Calbred, Big Don smiling at 9-2 Contender.
Yeah, stretching out a bit here, but a horse that should be forward in a race that I don't see a tremendous amount of speed side on.
Number 6, Fort Langley, the 9-year-old, 65th lifetime start.
Yeah, I agree, Richie. I don't see a lot of speed in here, and that doesn't bode well for Fort Langley either.
Benny Buckets at 7-1 currently.
Well, this horse does have some pace and is already accomplished around the 2 turns. He's going to get things easy. Frank Alvarado, terrific rider, now riding at Turf Paradise, transplanted from Northern California.
Still doing his thing, Frank Alvarado. Then Ruler of Angels pictured.
Yeah, just the last race was pretty bad, and the races prior to that, even before the break, were poor.
Shake, shake, shake me up towards the outside at 9-2.
Yeah, I thought ran a useful race last time, stretching out, and maybe that race will help from a fitness standpoint.
And Baron Song is out. The runners, $4,000 claimers, going a mile, 5th race, Turf Paradise. Something for everyone at Turf Paradise. Kids entertained. Handicappers trying to figure out who's going to wind up in that winner's circle for race number 5 in moments. Back at Oaklawn, horses in the paddock, 2-year-old fillies. They'll be sprinting 6 furlongs. Lindsay Schultz trains the favorite, number 2, Legal Lightning. You're looking at a first-time starter, Army's Marauder, and we check in with Megan.
Well, hello there, guys. And as for the number 6 Army's Marauder for the Chris Davis barn, Christian Torres having quite the day. And listen, I love me an Army mule horse, and I love them as sprinters. They're kind of those stronger, burlier types. They are quick. And while the Chris Davis barn is about 7 for 64 with those 2-year-old first-time starters with 28% of the money as far as the past 5 years are concerned, I liked the way this horse is carrying herself physically. And strong behind, kind of like I mentioned, very typical of her sire, kind of a powerhouse per se. And while I will say, taking a look at that work at Oaklawn Park where she worked from the gate and on December the 13th in a trio, she broke sharp, she's kind of hustled out of the gate, and as I mentioned, she just showed that power and that strength kind of bounding from her hind end. She was well in front of others in the work, traveled nicely in hand, and I think it's really important to watch this kind of work as the time doesn't necessarily reflect the quality of it. I just thought she traveled fantastic, and while she's kind of a burlier type, maybe a bit heavier in her body and her frame, I still think that she's going to be competitive here, even though she might need a start. You're fetching a fair price doing so. But the number 7, Killa Sally, I thought has not taken as much money as I initially thought she would off of that runner-up performance for the Kenny McPeak barn. A near miss at this level at Churchill. cuts back, and she ran really well last time out. She ran second to Sticker Shock, who we just saw run, of course, in that stake in a race prior and didn't quite fare, so we'll see how it shakes out. But by Volatile, I really like her getting back to this 6 furlong distance. She's kind of a smaller frame, kind of a lighter frame filly. I wouldn't say lighter frame, but she's just kind of one of those smaller, more compact types that I think will fare better. Now getting back to that 6 furlong distance, and one that really caught my eye. And to me in this group, there's a lot of different ways you could go, Lafitte.
Megan, competitive 2-year-old filly maiden affair, 6 furlongs, riders up, post parade, the 9th race, Oaklawn Park. Next, the 5th, Turf Paradise, right here, right now. Vic Stauffer with the call, with all eyes on the favorite, Sakil, ridden by Orlando Mojica. Mojica seeking a 3,000th career victory. 9-5, Sakil at post time. Vic Stauffer standing by.
Kevin Krieger and Anna's Iron Man. 2 more now, Ruler of Angels and Shasha Shake Me Up. They're at the post. They're off. A little bit of an awkward start for Sakil. Good start for Anna's Ironman and Big Don Smiling. These two go quickly into the clubhouse turn with Fort Langley 3 deep, and those 3 are across the track. Benny Buckets and Shasha Shake Me Up are next, then Mr. Insensitive. Followed by Ruler of Angels and Harbor Thunder, and at the back of the pack, it's Sakil. Anna's Ironman to the back stretch, a half length in front of Big Don Smiling, a similar margin to Fort Langley 3 deep, and here's Big Don Smiling to turn up the pressure and put his neck in front. Benny Buckets is 4 deep and less than 2 from the front as the veteran Shasha Shake Me Up tracks in 5th and 2.5 off the lead. Then it's 2.5 more back to Mr. Insensitive, 4 to Harbor Thunder, and Sakil will have to pass them all. He's got a half mile to do it as they go into the far turn. Anna's Ironman is gone, so that lands Fort Langley, and inside of him, Big Don Smiling, and Fort Langley and Hannah Leahy going to take over the lead around the far turn. Fort Langley now 3/4 of a length from Big Don Smiling in second. To the outside, and Benny Buckets. Shasha Shake Me Up is next, and Fort Langley's trying to get away at the top of the stretch. Fort Langley is now a solid 3.5 length lead over Big Don Smiling. Shasha Shake Me Up's at the rail. Sakil's got a lot of ground to make up, and Fort Langley is dominating past mid-stretch. Fort Langley has built up a huge lead. He's 6 in front. Shasha Shake Me Up is second, but Fort Langley has just run them right off their feet. Back-to-back wins, Hannah Leahy, Fort Langley in front. Fort Langley won by 6 lengths. Shasha Shake Me Up second, Sakil third, Mr. Insensitive finished 4th.
Old guys rule. Fort Langley, the 9-year-old, about to turn 10 in his 65th career start, wins a 17th career race.
Yeah, he said, watch out, you youngsters. I'll show you how this is done. And just dominated. And I think it's really, you know, one of the things that with these lower level races, when horses are good on the day, they're happy. They feel good. You'll get a performance like that.
Fort Langley, 17 career wins, 2 of those at Turf Paradise. Results forthcoming as we get ready for the 9th at Oaklawn Park. 2-year-old filly sprinting 6 furlongs. 5-2 currently. Legal Lightning for trainer Lindsay Schultz, the favorite at 5-2. They'll make the turn. We'll meet the field as we've met some impressive 2-year-olds all afternoon. All 2-year-olds all the time here at Oaklawn as they get set to turn 3 January 1st, the universal birthday for all North American registered thoroughbreds, and where these careers begin. And it's been a great one thus far at Oaklawn. You're looking at Buckeye favorite 7-1, then the favorite Legal Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, look, last 2 starts, horses shown speed. You can't argue with the horse who has a little bit of talent with speed.
Steel Girl, Uncle Mo, first-time starter.
Real nice, deep, comprehensive work tab for Steel Girl for a very capable trainer, Eddie Keneally.
You're in Heaven took money in her debut.
She sure did, and caught a muddy racetrack, but does add blinkers now.
Mascota Cat Vacoma, first-time starter out. Then Army's Marauder. Megan touched on the breeze, the work, then Killa Sally at 5-1.
Yeah, ran well, stretching to a mile, turns back in distance. Is that going to do her any favors in this spot?
Brandyfoot, complexity first-time starter.
Yeah, another one for Lindsay Schultz. I didn't say you did, Lafitte. This one not taking nearly as much money.
Yes, Julia, 7th in her debut.
That was on turf, taking a little bit of money here in a big field, 8-1.
Huck's Agenda to the outside.
Yeah, another one who took some money on debut, caught a sloppy racetrack, broke a little bit slow, was wide all the way around there. I thought had an excuse to run third, beating 3.
Now you know the story. Let's hear from the trainer, Lindsay Schultz, standing by with Megan.
Well, here with the barn that's just been on fire with 2-year-olds as far as Lindsay Schultz is concerned, with 2 in here. And as we spoke off camera, the number 2, Legal Lightning, surely put in a nice performance last time out and prep for this effort.
Yeah, she's a nice filly. She's, hit the board in both her starts, and we think this is a good spot for her.
You kind of elaborated on your resume and just the work that's gone into getting to this level, just years and years, the Flying Start program, and now your barn has just been seeing the ball so well as far as these 2-year-olds and the way they've been putting in efforts here at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, it's been a team effort. We worked hard at the 2-year-old sales, and we have some nice homebreds as well, and we just, we're able to kind of get them from all angles.
I will say this, there was a very visually impressive winner earlier on in the card, full to Hall and Ice there, and She's So Cool. When you see that kind of impressive performance, what goes through your head, and then also kind of looking ahead to the rest of the opportunities here as far as this meet is concerned?
It's huge for an Archie bred, for any 2-year-old filly, but this filly, she's been working well, and we're just so lucky to have her in the barn. The owners are great, and to have the chance with a full sister to Hall and Ice is incredible.
Well, best of luck here, Lindsay. Incredible job this meet.
Thank you, Megan.
Lafitte?
Lots to be excited about. The young, developing, talented prospects. Lindsay Schultz, and a terrific start to the Oaklawn meet. And J.K. handicapping the late double on this Saturday afternoon. Did you include the Schultz runner? What's the strategy? What's it look like?
I didn't, but I feel bad about it now. No, I like this this late double, the $5 minimum wager. 3, 7, 10. I'll go here. The 3 Steel Girl, the 7 Killa Sally, the 10 Huck's Agenda, and then in race 10, I'm going to be ice cold single to the 10 Kid Charlemagne in the last. And we talked about it throughout this meet opening. That $3 pick 3, that $5 double to end the card. Those higher denominations, while it might not seem that way to the players who like that 50-cent pick 3s and the dollar doubles, this actually gives you a better chance. Because of the higher denomination, when you've been lots of conversations about the CAWs and the computer wagerers, these higher denominations do not play into their hands. They like the lower denominations, so they can cover the math of all of the possibilities efficiently. These actually do give you a nice opportunity to get some of that meat off the bone.
Lots to like. Good luck with this late double. Get started in just 4 minutes. Race number 9. As we look at Killa Sally, Legal Lightning still favored at 5-2. Right back to Megan trackside at Oaklawn.
Well, one of the first-time starters that caught my eye in this group, as far as the first-time starters are concerned, in this competitive field was the number 3 Steel Girl for the Eddie Keneally barn, who shipped here with 1 horse and 1 here last week. And they don't ship here often, but it's been nice to see the Keneally barn here. But as far as the number 3 Steel Girl is concerned, she is one that has really been impressing me in the mornings and as far as her works are concerned. And she's one that certainly got a little sharp in the paddock. The assistant trainer and Sophie Aird for Eddie Keneally has been doing a fantastic job, kind of the traveling assistant here for Eddie, and handled the situation at hand beautifully when she kind of went almost straight up when they tried to get the tack on her. But other than that, before that effort, she had been doing a fantastic job handling the surroundings. It can be very daunting to come into the paddock at Oaklawn Park, where it's especially as a first-time starter, and deal with those new surroundings. But I thought she looked tremendous physically. She was one that I thought was fit athletic. She just looked incredible as far as this group is concerned. And a filly by Uncle Mo that I thought was one that might just be a starting point for her as far as this is concerned. But she's had some strong drills. I think that as far as the confidence for Eddie to send one here as a 2-year-old first-time starter, he hasn't done it in the past 5 years. And I found some confidence in that angle as well as I landed on the number 3 here, knowing that there might be some mental checkpoints that she might have to overcome in this group. But the number 10 here, excuse me, the number 2, we'll check in with Lindsay Schultz yet again. The number 2, Legal Lightning, has just put in on the board performances. She's been professional. She was athletic. She's quick. Speed is a commodity at these distances, and she really took the right step forward. Second off the board, second off the freshening as Abel Cedillo gets back forward again, and she's a filly that I had no issues with physically. She's fit. She's one that's kind of raced into her form. She's got the experience edge on others in this group, and I found her that was very enticing in this group, and a favorite I would obviously include on those tickets. But the number 10, just quickly touching on that outside horse, and Huck's Agenda is one that for Kenny McPeak, by known agenda, I typically just don't love them sprinting. They're leggier, scopy types, and raced along tracking last time out and kind of finished with a little bit of interest though, and gets back to a fast track, which is key. And 2 back, that gate work at Fairgrounds, it was quick as well. But the barn does well getting a start under their belt. And while as far as the physical, I do think this horse wants a little bit more ground, but certainly a place to sharpen this horse up. Not a ton of pedigree on hand there, but ultimately I wanted to dare to be a little bit great with the first-time starter in a group with some experience, as the MIG would say. I landed on the number 3 in here, Steel Girl for the Eddie Keneally barn.
A Steel Girl for Megan, 5-1. Richie, the filly to her outside in You're in Heaven, who debuted in the mud, finished off the board, but that race under her belt, and the fact that she did take money.
Well, that's what really attracted my attention. The fact that she went off 2-1 on debut, got caught in a position where she was chasing, a decent pace in the mud. Now she comes back with good work since that race and adds blinkers and Dallas Stewart shipper. And I also found it interesting, Dallas Stewart also co-owned and trained the dam of You're in Heaven, and he is the co-owner and co-breeder with Windstar Farm. You're in Heaven reaches out to Luis Saez. I just thought, reading between the lines, this horse must have been dazzling or at least impressing in the morning trials.
Long way to go, very long way to go. They race until the first Saturday of May at Oaklawn Park, but it was one of the headline stories this winter, this season. Luis Saez riding full-time at Oaklawn for the very first time, and high-profile rider. It's like he's expected to win on everything he rides, right?
Sure.
It's not realistic, but by Louis' standards, a sluggish, slow-ish start to the meet.
Yeah, he got off to a bit of a slow start, but I kept saying the same thing. It's just a matter of time before he breaks out. Now, for people that don't know, Luis Saez's agent is Kieran McLaughlin, who was a tremendously successful racehorse trainer that also came out of that Wayne Lucas training academy, right? He's close with all of these guys. Dallas Stewart was with Wayne while Kieran was there as well with Winning Colors. I'm sure you got a phone call from Dallas Stewart saying, hey, I'm running a filly I like a little bit here. I'm not going to let you chase any empty wagons.
Luis Saez, yeah, going to be just fine this winter and eventually spring at Oaklawn Park. Aboard You're in Heaven. Legal Lightning for Lindsay Schultz. Favorite at post time. 2-1. Matt Dinnerman with the loading call. 9th race live from Oaklawn on FS1.
2 back. You're in Heaven. Waiting for You're in Heaven to take her spot. Yes, Julia has already gone in, so there's still 2 back here with You're in Heaven. And then to the outside, Huck's Agenda. Still working with You're in Heaven. Currently favored at 5-2. Legal Lightning for Lindsay Schultz, who's off to a good start this meet. Abel Cedillo with the call here. You're in Heaven. Luis Saez for Windstar and Dallas Stewart. Still working with her to go into the starting gate. That's post position number 4. Remember, this race here starts the $5 late daily double. That's the minimum with our late daily double each and every day here with that low 15% takeout. And we've got a $3 late pick 3 with that low 15% takeout. Of course, those 2 wagers started off this year on our wagering menu. Still trying with You're in Heaven. You're in Heaven now goes it. She's in the gate. Huck's Agenda, outside post. Huck's Agenda stepping in. We're ready to go. And they're off. Steel Girl, a little bit slow to go. You're in Heaven, hustled along for the early lead. She's got it. Yes, Julia in the second spot early. Legal Lightning off the pace with Buckeye Favorite to the inside. Killa Sally, 5 lengths off the pace, just got a tap on the shoulder to get into things. She's racing alone, isolated 5 from the top. A half length back to Brandy Foot. Then comes Army's Marauder. Steel Girl right behind her. She's past Huck's Agenda, who drops to the rear. Into the far turn, You're in Heaven puts the pedal to the metal and scampers 2 lengths clear. Yes, Julia in chase mode now. Second, Buckeye Favorite third in a strung out group. Legal Lightning has already come under a hard ride, a joint third rounding the far turn. Army's Marauder getting a little bit closer. She has 8 or 9 to make up. The others well behind at the quarter pole. You're in Heaven. Off the turn, length in front. Yes, Julia chasing hard in second. Legal Lightning third. Army's Marauder swings deep for the stretch drive. She's gathering momentum with 3/16 to go. You're in Heaven is clear. She's increased the lead to 5, 6 lengths. You're in Heaven just keeps going. You're in Heaven went right to the lead and never stopped after that. Luis Saez hand-riding her hard to the wire, but she's got it. You're in Heaven. 5 ahead. Second home, Army's Marauder. Huck's Agenda was third. Legal Lightning checks in fourth.
Right on cue. Luis Saez and You're in Heaven for trainer Dallas Stewart, Windstar Farm. Stewart also the co-owner. Well done, Richie. 4-1 at post time. You're in Heaven.
Yeah, broke a little sharper this time, had improved speed with the addition of blinkers and the experience of the first start, and just kept rambling along. And, you know, Luis Saez, he's a rider. When you see him with that kind of long, loose, rein almost, and allowing horses to bounce along, they seem to keep finding when he finally does pick them up and set them down, and she was just best of this group.
You know, Louis, he really gets going when he finds himself on the front end. He's a great, aggressive rider. He can do anything, don't get me wrong, but I think that when he sees one go through the hoop like this, I'd imagine that'll kind of wake him up a little bit, keep him going in the right direction.
Love the overhead, the drone, and how it accentuates the acceleration in the stretch.
When a horse is putting that separation with the drone, it is so noticeable, right? You can see it's just like they're scooting away. And I love the way it kind of brings you into the race where you see when guys have to make decisions, making moves into different gaps and things.
It's a different perspective. You're in Heaven. Widens on that field and graduates in her second career try. When we come back, results Oaklawn Plus. Opening day. Santa Anita out west. Bob Baffert, 2-time Triple Crown winning trainer, 6-time Malibu Stakes winning trainer, seeking a 7th tomorrow and represented by half the field in the Grade 1 Malibu. Look at her take off. You're in heaven. Running away and hiding in this 9th race at Oaklawn Park. Welcome back, America's Day at the Races on FS1. Louis Saez going to work. You're in heaven responds. In that WinStar White, co-owned by Dallas Stewart, trained by Dallas Stewart. Standing by with Megan.
And Lafitte, co-bred by trainer Dallas Stewart. He has been involved from the very beginning with this horse. How special is it to see that family through and be involved from the very beginning?
Well, it's just like the name. You're in heaven. It just feels like that. So I had the mother. I had the mother's mother. So the whole family's been part of my family for about 17, 18 years, and we've been very blessed. And, of course, WinStar Farm, to be partners with them is so special. Elliott Wald is so great to deal with. It's just wonderful.
When you see a filly kind of cruising like that and the way this horse did, what are the next steps in your brain as you look towards a very comprehensive list of stakes that Oaklawn has on offer here?
Yeah, we'll be a little bit patient. You know, WinStar is very patient, and the blinkers seem to turn her on. Her first race, she was a little bit lackadaisical, but she turned on good with the blinkers today. Louis is a sharp rider. He loved her, and we'll just take our time going forward and plot out a course.
Well, off camera, we were musing about the time you spent here at Oaklawn, the mentorship by Wayne Lukas, and can you, now that kind of feels a little bit like something's missing here, but can you just speak to some of the memories that you have shared with him over the years here?
Yeah, I mean, look, I worked for him 12 years. I started when I was 26 and worked with him, exercised horses that won the Derby and big races and worked my way up. Spent 5 years here at Oaklawn. My oldest son was born here, so we have a big tradition here. We love coming here, but you better bring something that can run because it's tough.
It is tough, but looks like you're in heaven. Congratulations here, Dallas.
Thank you.
Lafitte?
Dallas Stewart, you're in heaven. And the fact that he is stabled and occupying the barn that Wayne Lukas occupied for so many years.
It just seems so fitting, and honestly, it's even emotional for me to think about. You know, Dallas starting out with Wayne, he was galloping Winning Colors when she went on to win the Kentucky Derby, and he was my valet before that at the fairgrounds.
One more time?
Dallas Stewart, before he went to work for Wayne Lukas, was my valet.
How do I not know this? How do I not know that?
You know it now.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
See, that goes right on top. So I used to start with Dallas Stewart. Jonathan, saddled the filly who triggered the biggest upset in the history of the Kentucky Oaks and Lemons Forever. Now, no, Richie's former valet and jock room.
I want to know how it was to work with Richie. I bet he was tough back then.
I was good with the valets. It's the agents.
We know how tough it is.
And I'm eating now. I'm not hangry.
Dallas Stewart, yeah, and being, as they were discussing, being involved with from day one, a breeder as well, and how much more special that makes it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're in on the planning of the mating. Even before this foal is created, where should we send this mare? Who will be the best match? And then to raise the foal and see it get to this point, like you said earlier, it's hard enough to get one to the races, let alone to the winner's circle.
Great story, many layers. Trainer Dallas Stewart with WinStar Farm, you're in heaven. Louis Saez, the winning ride in race number 9. Oaklawn Park, shifting gears back to Turf Paradise. Race number 6. 3 minutes out, let's meet the field with the favorite. Breaking from the one post, Rockstar Parking pictured.
And he is taking a drop in class for Robertino Diodoro. He was claimed for 5. Orlando Moica looking for that 3,000.
2,999. Those milestones that can be elusive. There's a little bit tipsy.
Yeah, I mean, 3 races back on the dirt. That race could win this one.
Birdie Curdy, 5-1 pictured.
Comes off a big effort at the same level. Certainly a major player here.
28-1 Kittens Kid, 4 for 47 lifetime.
Yeah, 4 for 47. I just don't necessarily trust Kitten's Kid.
Miss Accelerate likes to mix it up early.
Yeah, not often you see a horse going into the $4,000 level and you say moving up in company.
Moving up in company and back sprinting today. Then Super Annie Contender.
Yeah, has been running a lot shorter, but unfortunately doesn't have a lot of early speed.
4-time winner, one of those at Turf Paradise. There she is, Super Annie, followed by a 10-1 shot in Princess Peyton, the 6-year-old mare, 27th career start.
10-1 shot that I think has a puncher's chance here. She's run races that I think could make her competitive.
See if she can pull off an upset at a price, followed by number 8 in Gigi's Map, 6-1.
Yeah, it just feels like one I think I'm going to appreciate going a little bit shorter. I'll go with the 8 in here.
Kevin Krieger in the saddle of Golden Sense fame. Kevin Krieger, then Willing to Burn picture.
Yeah, turning back in distance, good outside draw for a horse turning back in distance. Has been showing speed further. Maybe that helps her see it through.
6th race Turf Paradise coming up, plus more from Oaklawn Park. Great to have you with us on FS1. You're watching America's Day at the Races.
In this sport, it takes just one special horse and a lot of people that believe in him. By Champion Arrogant from the family of Broodmare of the Year, Better Than Honor, rose to prominence in the Grade 3 Peter Pan, displayed power in the Grade 1 Belmont, cemented his 3-year-old championship in the Grade 1 Travers, defeating a champion 2-year-old, Kentucky Derby, and Preakness winners.
And the Eclipse Award goes to Arcangelo.
Arcangelo, standing at Lane's End.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing starts December 12th. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs. And come join the fun.
Some horses are remembered, other horses are passed down like an heirloom. He's the kind of horse that lives in stories, each better than the one before, hardened like a diamond, and equally brilliant. He ran 3 straight years at the highest level, and he himself was elite.
Putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure.
National Treasure would not be denied. National Treasure wins the Pegasus World Cup. In the blink of an eye has opened up a 5-length advantage. It's a 1-horse race. National Treasure.
There's a brilliance in the way he moved and a tenacity in how he finished. By quality road with a wealth of family, and he raced like he knew it. National Treasure, the key to quality.
Back just in time as they have reached the starting gate for the 6th race Turf Paradise, the story involving the jockey on the favorite, Rockstar Parking, Orlando Mohican. He'll give it another shot. 2,999 career wins. Is this the one? Will this be victory number 3,000? About to find out. Vic Stoffer standing by.
They're at the post. They're off. Good start for Miss Accelerate and Gigi's Map. Kitten's Kid is a close-up, then Willing to Burn. Rockstar Parking at the rail, then Super Annie and Birdie Curdy with Little Bit Tipsy, and the trailer is Princess Peyton. Up the backstretch, Gigi's Map just in front of Miss Accelerate. Gigi's Map now 3/4 of a length. Miss Accelerate is second by 2 lengths to Willing to Burn, who is moving nicely in third. Kitten's Kid has 4 lengths to make up. She's 2 in front of Birdie Curdy and Rockstar Parking. Then comes Super Annie and a very wide Princess Peyton, and far at the back of the pack, it's Little Bit Tipsy. Gigi's Map, the one to catch. Gigi's Map to the quarter pole. It's a 2-length lead from an all-in Willing to Burn in second. Rockstar Parking has moved through at the rail. She's third and now 3 from the front. Miss Accelerate outside her and 3 wide Birdie Curdy, and it's still Gigi's Map in front. Gigi's Map, a final furlong to get, and now she is a solid 4 lengths in front. Rockstar Parking and Willing to Burn are chasing her. Gigi's Map is slowing down, but she's also getting close to the wire. Gigi's Map, Willing to Burn, Gigi's Map, Willing to Burn, Gigi's Map. Gigi's Map held off Willing to Burn. Rockstar Parking was third, maybe Birdie Curdy for fourth.
Diminishing lead, but she holds on. Gigi's Map in the 6th at Turf Paradise.
Yeah, the other Robertino Diodoro. It feels like horses are going down to the rail, but horses breaking from the outside, Jonathan, it seemed like they're getting the best of it at Turf Paradise today.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. You know, I think it's a hard thing to try to identify today to try to make money. But I do, to your point, is finding them when they run back next time.
The old bearing down on a milestone slump. Funny how that happens to just about everyone. Orlando Mojica, he'll get there soon enough. Steve Asmussen, he'll saddle win number 1,000 at Oaklawn Park soon enough. With the horses in the paddock, we'll check in with Megan. Riders up post-parade as our coverage continues in Hot Springs. Stay tuned. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1. Coverage brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Happy holidays from all of us on America's Day at the Races. And at Oaklawn Park, very festive. And this holiday meet rolls on with the Saturday nightcap. Riders up, all 2-year-olds all the time. Updated odds with Kid Charlemagne, number 10, the 5-2 favorite before the post parade. At the Paddock report from Megan, standing by live.
Well, I thought this was a very interesting group here as far as there wasn't any real buyer speed figure edge, and one that I thought was just pretty interesting. You've got some impressive winners in the way of the number 10, Kid Charlemagne, last time out for the Sean Williams barn, and one that I really think is, looks fantastic, well-muscled, very well turned out. One that, of course, makes you appreciate that the physical matches what's on paper after that rousing 10-length victory in Maiden 50 last time out at Del Mar. And it's been one that hasn't been, I have some experience there at Colonial in the beginning stages when they ran him. And one that I find, I always say this about some of these West Coast horses, getting to Oaklawn Park for the first time, different surfaces, different moisture content. It's just a complete completely different atmosphere. But I find that he's one that gives me a little bit more confidence as far as the early stages of his career. And I just loved what I saw from him physically. He put together extremely well and everything you would want to see from a 5-2 favorite. But moving on to the number 7 here, Horse of the Sea for Brad Cox, and one that is, again, there's not a huge discrepancy on the general figures and facts and figures of this group, and one that I found made a nice impression with Jaime Torres coming aboard. And while they don't team up often, this barn and Torres, they do very well when doing so. Well turned out. One that I thought made a great physical impression, especially one that you might be fetching a little bit of a fair price on there, up there at 5-1. But the number 6 here, Perfect Audible for Steve Asmussen. It's the last race of the day. Maybe this is the race where we see him, of course, clinch that 1,000 victory mark here at Oaklawn Park. But an engine on this 2-year-old son of Audible. It's just a really sturdy individual, and one that has kind of been a little bit of a project, I would say, and one that, as the Audibles would go, I find they can have a propensity to do that. Has been well back and it broke the maiden there, coming from off of things, as this horse does. 2 back, they tried to kind of use a little bit more early speed at Churchill Downs to no avail, but you know, just judging from this group and just facts and figures alone, he made a perfectly fine impression to me as far as physically stout, compact. I think that he's an out-and-out sprinter, but at the same time, here getting the stretch out to the mile distance, one that coming from off of it could appreciate getting a little bit more added ground when it comes to finishing late here, Lafitte.
Fair track this afternoon. Horses winning from all over. Horses far back, making up ground. Pace, you get another thing is the pace often unfolds the way it looks like on paper at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, you see riders, you know, less reluctant to allow horses to use their speed there. You know, riders, I think in some cases, not all cases, get a bad rap, particularly here in New York, because, well, they're not aggressive. A lot of times they're riding to instructions in the way horses are trained. Most trainers in New York work their horses going off slow and finishing. Then to expect those same horses to be able to run the entirety of the race isn't really fair on the rider. So they're basically riding horses to the way they're trained, the way they're conditioned, and the way they're instructed to ride them.
See how this one unfolds right from the start. This mile affair for these 2-year-olds. Looking at Herb's Bolt, it's 6-1 with Luis Saez. Saez looking to go back-to-back on the Saturday program. Who did you wind up with, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 10. It was a horse I had singled in the
That's right.
in the pick 3. That's no longer with us, Kid Charlemagne. I just thought the horse ran really well out in California, had some big numbers out there, shows up back here, new connections, and if they can find a way to kind of reach back into some of those previous performances, not including those grass ones, I just thought the 10 was going to be tough, just better than these other horses. If it's not the 10 for me, if you're allergic to playing the favorite in the last race, getting out of here, I thought the 8 French Knight was a little bit interesting. A horse that was going 6 furlongs last time, stretches out here for Kenny McPeak, a horse that has run going long before. It didn't go well, but the fact that Kenny's going back to the well to go long again makes me think that it was probably more about the muddy racetrack on that day.
Last 2 races, muddy track, sloppy track, French Knight. See what he does in his 4th career start as we get right back to Megan 2 minutes out.
Well, I'm right in the same frame of mind as JK is concerned about this race. I, too, landed here on the 10 and the 8, and the 10 made, as I noted, a great physical impression, but so did the 8. And one that the number 8 French Knight there for Kenny McPeak. He looked absolutely fantastic, and one that I do think will be just fine as far as getting back to this route of ground distance, one that I thought was just made the right impression physically. And I like that he's one that was split and really dug in between horses last time out, really showed that tenacity. Now getting finally back to this fast track after 2 wet started of course, that sloppy sealed last time out, and of course in the mud, but one that I wanted to take a chance with in this race. Obviously, all respect to your favorite up there, the number 10, but I wanted to take a shot in this one with the number 8 up there at 12-1. But the number 3, War Money for the Tommy Vance barn, one that actually another on a quick turnaround. We saw Counting Stars come back to run well quickly off of that rest and a cup that stake earlier on the card, and this one another that's been wheeled back as well on the stretch out in distance. And I thought when I first saw this horse physically a couple of weeks ago that the 6 furlongs could just be a starting point. I thought that this horse could certainly be able to get this mile distance, and one that was no worse for wear, especially with these 2-year-olds kind of pinpointing if those races maybe that took more out of them as far as their energy, their flesh, their condition. And I didn't see that as far as the number 3 is concerned. And you're fetching a nice price on a last out winner. But a bad actor just to touch on there from the outside, and the number 11, After Party, trained by David Jacobson, just incredibly sharp and on his toes, will show speed from that outside post, which will be to hopefully be able to get into that position going forward, that short run to that first turn, but one that was just incredibly distracted, very difficult as far as trying to get the tack on, you can see that horse just kind of tossing his head, distracted, kind of fighting things, and just did not look like the type that's mind was focused on business today, but ultimately taking a shot against the favorite in this finale there with the number 8, French Knight.
Megan taking a shot against the favorite, as is the MIG. Going with Perfect Audible and what could be a historic moment at Oaklawn.
Yeah, Steve Asmussen looking for his 1,000th career win at Oaklawn Park alone. 1,000 wins for most trainers would be a tremendous career. For him, it's just one jurisdiction. Perfect Audible, to me, has kind of shown that incremental improvement that I like to see. Pretty much every race has been a forward move, and he has a lot of foundation. And if you look at the mare, Twirl Girl, she won up to 1 mile and 70 yards, and she's thrown a foal that won up to 1 mile and 16. So I think the stretch out could help the 6, Perfect Audible.
If it all comes together, 5th racetrack. This would be the 5th track Steve Asmussen has saddled at least 1,000 winners. 5th racetrack.
It's almost unbelievable.
It's mind-boggling. North America's all-time leading trainer. Is this the moment? Perfect Audible with his son Eric in the saddle, seeking that 1,000th career win at Oaklawn Park. One final time, Matt Dinnerman standing by with the call. 10th race, live from Oaklawn on Fox Sports 1.
2 back, Divot Digger, and After Party to the outside. Here's After Party. We're ready to go in the finale. And they're off. Nick the Quick, the gray, is indeed very quick. Leads the way early. Perfect Audible runs in second. Herb's Bolt is third. Santini right behind them in fourth. Divot Digger is joining him going into the turn. Horse of the Sea is caught deep into the first turn run here. French Knight is also on the outside within 5 lengths of the lead. After Party is next in the field deeper. Gap of 3 lengths further back to Just Like Max. He's third last. War Money second to last. Kid Charlemagne is the trailer. They're moving right along on the lead. Nick the Quick has the lead by 2. Perfect Audible in a good stride running in second. Herb's Bolt tucked in on the inside of him. There's a gap of 2 lengths back. French Knight, he's on the outside of horses today. Horse of the Sea in the meantime claiming fourth. He's 5 from the top with a half-mile left to go. Santini to the inside is next. Then there's a gap of 2. Divot Digger, After Party, third last. War Money, Kid Charlemagne are next. And tailing off was Just Like Max, already dropping back as they go into the far turn. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole. Nick the Quick is still clear here. Perfect Audible under a hard ride. There goes Horse of the Sea on the outside with Jaime Torres. Horse of the Sea making a big stride and a big move to the front. Perfect Audible's moving with him though, and these two are hooking up, putting away Nick the Quick, who's had enough. Herb's Bolt is third now, trying to get to the top pair as they come off the turn. Perfect Audible, Horse of the Sea, narrow lead. Here comes Herb's Bolt. He was patiently ridden, tries to pick up the top pair. He's got a shot. 3 of them driving to the wire. Herb's Bolt, Horse of the Sea, Perfect Audible's beaten. Herb's Bolt, Horse of the Sea, Herb's Bolt gets it in the shadow of the wire. Herb's Bolt, your winner at 9-1. Horse of the Sea second, Perfect Audible third. After Party was fourth in the finale on Future Champions Day here at Oaklawn.
What slow start? Luis Saez heating up, back-to-back wins on the Saturday program. Herb's Bolt in the nightcap.
You know, Lafitte, you see this quite a bit, I think, that when they have the race run to the short wire, the 16th pole, riders tend to get a bit even more aggressive than they might, and you see a little bit of that premature move by the 7 Horse of the Sea, and it set it up perfectly for Herb's Bolt, who was being patiently handled and got that inside-out trip under Luis Saez, save the ground, and then tip out and finish with the run. That inside post, such an advantage 2 turns.
And absolutely, especially when you can save all that ground, because that energy that from the geometry of the early part of the race comes in handy right here. You know, you like to think that the horse goes a little bit wide, loses ground. It's probably the difference that doesn't allow him to get the victory here.
Figuring things out, took him 5 starts to win his first career start. Get that confidence going. Now he wins back-to-back races, Herb's Bolt.
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes a horse a little while to figure out. Think of horses as you would, people or children. They're going to develop at different stages. They're going to figure things out at different stages. It's not only a physical game, it's a mental game. And some of them just need racing to get it straight.
Sire was a star 2-year-old, the post-time favorite in the 2017 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Bolt Doro. Herb's Bolt, trained by Joe Sharp. Luis Saez 2 straight to close out the program. Herb's Bolt in the 10th and final results. When we come back and winding things down on this Saturday on America's Day at the Races, and you take one final look at Herb's Bolt doing his thing and racking up a 2nd straight victory. We'll be right back.
Maxfield, a breathtaking run at the top of the stretch.
Maxfield digs down deep to win it. And Maxfield fought off all challengers easily to win the Foster.
Here's Maxfield. He's now 5 for 5. Maxfield, magnificent in the mine shaft. He won by 4.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a 2nd career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
This holiday season, give the gift of racing with Naira Bets gift cards. Share your passion with friends and family or instantly fund your own account. Choose the amount and redeem online. Find gift cards under the promotions tab at NairaBets.com. Now's the time to subscribe to the Naira Bets YouTube channel. Join Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro for stakes previews, in-depth analysis, and handicapping strategy and tutorials. Subscribe to and like Naira Bets on YouTube.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
There he is, Luis Saez entering the winner's circle at Oaklawn Park. Herb's Bolt finding his rhythm. 2 straight victories. Joe Sharp had him cranked up, ready to roll right about here, finding his best stride. Luis Saez tips him to the outside. He takes off and runs down the leaders.
It just feels like riders that are very good riders that know Oaklawn well just seem to get a little bit more aggressive, Jonathan, with when they run to the short wire, the 16th pole. And it seems like that move backfires because inevitably someone picks them off late.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's they think that, oh, I can go early, and it seems to not always work out. But like I said a little bit earlier, I'm always going to err on the side of an aggressive decision from my riders, or the riders in which I've bet on.
The quest for 1,000 for Steve Asmussen, who you liked going in, perfect audible, a solid effort here.
He ran a good race. I think when he was being very patiently handled by Eric Asmussen, but when that early move came from the 7-horse, it kind of almost swept him up into the bridle a little too soon. You'd like to build horses into that finish, more like a crescendo, not from a pull to a drive.
Really fun day of thoroughbred racing here at Aqueduct and Oaklawn as well, with all of the 2-year-olds, and with the weekend continuing. We look ahead to the Sunday feature right here at the Big A and the field for a race, Richie, that you run several times, tomorrow's Bay Ridge Stakes.
Well, it was only kind of fitting, right? I grew up in Brooklyn, the Bay Ridge, and always a competitive race. And get to see Yedsid Hazelwood, an apprentice that's been riding at Laurel, the Mid-Atlantic, who has been unbelievably
What has
impressive.
stood out?
He finishes like a journeyman. He looks like he's been riding 5 years, which is very unusual because it takes you a while to build that muscle and muscle memory that you need and getting your legs as strong as they need to be. And the only way to do that, you can't replicate it with workouts. You have to ride to get to that place. He looks like he's been riding for a lot longer than he's been.
Along with the great racing, we say goodbye to our audience, Jonathan, and learning that Kentucky Derby winner, Belmont Stakes winner, Travers winner, Sovereignty will compete as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, a little bit late, Godolphin. It was Christmas a few days ago, but I'm glad that we got that great news. It's going to be an exciting 2026 knowing that the big horse will be back.
Look forward to seeing him. Look forward to seeing what Full Screen does moving forward. What a victory today in the Queens County. That's 2 straight runaway wins for Full Screen. Never better. And counting stars, the West Point Thoroughbred filly, she's just getting started. 3 of 4 now, 2-time stakes winner at Oaklawn Park, having won the year's end. Big afternoon, Christian Torres, 3 wins in Hot Springs. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.